makes his first start for the club. Jacob Murphy, his first of the season, and Miguel Almiron is in as well. So for them, Darlow is fit to play in goal after an injury scare. The three centre-backs are Cher, Fernandez and Lascelles. It looks like Ryan Fraser could play as a right wing-back, Lewis on the left, Hendrick possibly in midfield with Murphy, Almiron and Saint-Maximin supporting Wilson up top. Kev, it's a strange season already. It is not, I don't think, in any way strange to suggest that Wolves could be a Champions League challenger, is it?
No, absolutely not. Always been impressed with Espirito Santo teams, and a win today could put them third, I believe, in the early table. But it wouldn't be no more than they deserve. I like the way they set up. I like the way they play. Very cohesive unit indeed.
Yeah, we know it's the big goal for the group that took over the club in 2016. They've improved in each of the last 3 seasons, championship champions before 7th and 7th again in their 2 Premier League seasons, but also reaching the Europa League quarter-finals last season. How much of a help could it be, the circumstances of this season, no European football for them, and the congestion of European football and multiple competitions for others? Well,
it could be a real boost for them, couldn't it? And a bonus, and I think it'll help without the added pressure of Europa League, etc., etc. But like I just said, I like the way Santos teams set up. They're getting progressively better as time goes on. We've only just started this season, but they've picked up where they left off. And as I say, it'll be a real fillip for them if they can get a win today, and it will put them in the higher echelons of the table.
They're getting progressively better, and many of the players that he brings in get progressively better as individuals as well, don't they? They tend to sign young talent, and he's got a way of working with those players, many of them young Portuguese players, and really improving them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd done the game against Leeds last week or midweek, and I thought they were. I wouldn't say they were poor in the first half, because I thought Leeds were excellent. They took a long while to get going, but when they did, the game was much more of an even contest in the second half, and you could just see the little bit of more experience they had of the division than Leeds did. And in the end, they could have gone on and got another couple, so they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
It's a different looking front three, isn't it, this season? Daniel Podence playing on a regular basis, and Pedro Neto has started every single game so far. Of course, they lost Diogo Jota to Liverpool in the summer. Adama Traore only on the bench today, and on the bench for the 3rd time in 6 games this season. Despite those changes, the players coming in, they still have the same effect and all work well in the same system, which shows you how well he has everybody drilled.
Yeah, it's a 3-4-3, isn't it? Everybody knows their jobs, they know what they're up to, and that's the biggest thing. They are a team. I was incredibly impressed with Daniel Podence the other night. I thought he was excellent. Was a little bit surprised that he came off. Maybe he had a little bit of a niggle, I don't know. But then again, you're replacing him with Adama Traore, who is now getting towards the finished article. He did have a lack of end product, didn't he? But he seems to be rectifying that. He's obviously worked on it, and all in all, he'll be very pleased, the manager, with the way these teams are progressing.
As for Newcastle, absolutely awful at home to Manchester United last week, conceded 4 goals. Goalkeeper Carl Darlow saved a penalty, made 10 saves altogether in the game. They cleared another couple off the line as well, but they have had a couple of good results this season. They've got 7 points on the board already. What do you forecast for them this season, Kev?
I think they'll be mid-table. I think they've got a little bit too much quality to find themselves down the bottom of this league. But the way things are going, who knows? I mean, I think it could be the most open Premier League in a long, long while, the way it started the first 5 or 6 games. You look at their team today, and they do look like they could be an attacking threat. Whether they come and they try and soak it up, I know Steve Bruce, he sets his teams out, I know they like doing that, but he does have a lot of attacking players on the pitch, if you like. Almiron, Callum Wilson, Saint-Maximin. You've got Murphy, who's not really a midfielder, looks like he could play in that central midfield role. And the wing-backs as well, Fraser and Lewis, very attack-minded.
You will have to wait and see how Newcastle set up. If they do play with a back 4, there's no out-and-out right back in the team. If they do play with a back 3, there's only the one central midfielder. So it's a bit of a conundrum to solve, but all will be revealed in around 25 minutes' time. We'll have more on Wolves against Newcastle to come closer to kick-off, but when we return, we'll be discussing the rest of the weekend's action in the English top flight. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evening Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, Titanium Plasmatronic Death Droids from the Future, 0.
Excess.
Wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Welcome back to our coverage of Wolves against Newcastle. I'm Tim Long. Alongside me is Kevin Watson. Now, yesterday we had live commentary of 4 games here on Premier League Live, including 4 of the Big 6 and plenty of big talking points as well. We'll go through them in order. West Ham United 1, Manchester City 1 was the score. More drop points for Manchester City, and Pep Guardiola said it was hard to break down the Hammers.
We found the spaces in the first half, in the second one, but unfortunately it's difficult, of course. Defense so deep, 10 players, it's not easy to find it. They start with 4 in the back, but after they play with 5. And it was not easy, but we had enough chances the second half to score. Unfortunately, we could not do it. We're struggling, we can say so. No preparation and a lot of games, not much recovery, and we know it's tough, but I think the way we started, we were really well, and the chances that we had, we were there.
West Ham hanging on for a big point in the end, having had themselves ahead. More drop points for Manchester City, who've won just 2 of their first 5 in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola says they're struggling there, and he talked about the lack of preparation at the start of the season. What have you made of them so far?
Well, they've just been average, haven't they? I mean, I watched the game yesterday. I say I watched the game. I missed the last part of the second half. But he's right in what he says. You know, fair play to David Moyes, the way he set his West Ham team up. They defended deep. There was no room to run in behind West Ham. They forced them out. They forced Manchester City out wide. And for me, it just looked all too slow. They've obviously lost David Silva. Kevin De Bruyne is not 100% fit. It's just been a really slow start for them, and they'll be disappointed because everyone else isn't absolutely flying at the moment either. So they'll be disappointed, but they managed to get a draw yesterday and managed to get a point out of it. And by all accounts, they should have gone on and won the game. It was defence v attack for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, you have to feel like things can only get better for Manchester City this season. Elsewhere, a London derby, Fulham against Crystal Palace, 2-1 to Palace away at Fulham. They're back to winning ways after 3 without a win. They're up to 5th in the table with 10 points already. Fulham, though, rock bottom, just 1 point from 6 games, and it's already, Kev, looking ominous for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, they look out of their depth, to put it mildly, at the moment. They struggle. They really struggle defensively. So it doesn't matter what they're going to have going forward, how much prowess they got going forward, which at the moment they're not scoring a lot of goals either. But you could drive a London bus through their defence at times. Unless Scotty Parker shores it up, they're going to have a long, hard season. It's going to take a lot of work on the training field, I think. A lot of hours and drumming it into these boys, because they've got to stop conceding goals.
Now, the big game yesterday flattered to deceive, didn't it? Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0. There's been much debate surrounding how both managers played it tactically in the midst of a congested schedule. What's your take on that, Kev?
Very disappointed with the game. I thought that the quality was okay, but it wasn't like a Manchester United Chelsea game of years gone by, or even in recent years. Disappointed. Both teams had a couple of chances each, didn't they? And obviously a contentious decision with Harry Maguire. What I thought, and I think most people thought, was giving away a penalty when he got Azpilicueta in a stranglehold. But apart from that, not much in the game. Even contest. Again, disappointed with both teams yesterday.
Well, you mentioned it there, Kev. Let's hear now from the Chelsea manager, Frank Lampard, on that contentious decision in the penalty area.
I think you're being very kind when you see he appears to have wrapped his arms around him. It was a penalty. I'm really surprised. Sometimes VAR takes minutes, and we get that, and we all sit and wait. This season, referees go to the monitor. I think if the referee goes to the monitor, he clearly gives a penalty. I'm not sure how he could not. So it was a penalty. I don't quite understand it. I'll have to move on quickly, because they go for you, they go against you some days. But in a tight game like this, it's obviously a frustration when you don't get that, which might have won you the game.
I think pretty much any fan, pundit, or indeed ex-player watching that yesterday would agree entirely with the thoughts there of Frank Lampard. Why do the officials not agree with that point of view? The assistant, of course, on the video had a look at it, didn't even direct the referee to the monitor. How on earth is that not being given?
Well, I think we're back to the grey area one, aren't we? It's all subjective. If you get someone else different sitting in that fourth official's studio yesterday, he might well have told the referee, yeah, that's a penalty, or you need to go and have a look at it. But the fact that the referee on the pitch didn't even see anything, and the fourth officials had a look and just gone play on, quite a bizarre decision, really. He's actually got him around the neck and used basically that for leverage, Harry Maguire. It's a penalty in anyone's book.
Well, the 0-0 draw means United have 7 points from 5 games, Chelsea 9 points from 6 to start the season. It's not been a great start for either team under, of course, an ex-player as manager. Plenty of pressure already on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Bit of pressure for the lack of defensive displays on Chelsea and Frank Lampard. Will he be the most happy with that point yesterday, and in particular the clean sheet that earned them the point?
I think if you go away from home and you get a point, and especially at Old Trafford, you're obviously going to be pleased. It's points dropped for both teams, yes, but it's Old Trafford. Whether there's a crowd in there or not, it should be an intimidating place to go. But it's just far from it, isn't it? In recent times, Old Trafford, teams are going there, they're not sitting back, and they're actually thinking, do you know what, we can go here and win. I mean, how many times would you have said that over the years? You're setting your stall out when you go to Manchester United to win. It used to be, we're setting our stall out to concede as least as we can.
We've heard that argument a lot since the game yesterday, in particular, about Manchester United being the home team and needing to take the initiative. the stats actually suggest that home is no longer an advantage anymore since the restart without the crowds, Kev. There's been more points won by teams playing away from home. Is that strange, or would you have expected that without the crowds in attendance?
I think it's exactly what you've said, mate. It's not intimidating, is it? You go into grounds, you go into big grounds, you've got fantastic playing surfaces, brilliant stadia, but you haven't got 20,000 behind a goal sucking the ball into the net, putting you under extreme pressure. I've been involved in games, playing away from home, and a crowd that get behind the home team literally are the 12th man. You get some teams that like playing away, and they enjoy the challenge of setting up and saying, well, come on, we'll take what you can throw at us and we'll hit you on the break. And you get others that wilt under the pressure. That's why you get some teams good at home, some teams good away. But most certainly, like I say, and you're saying it's all clubs, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. Home advantage does mean a lot.
Yeah, more points won by away teams than home teams so far this season. We'll have to see if that changes as the campaign progresses, whether fans are allowed back into the arenas or not. But the last game yesterday in the evening was Liverpool 2, Sheffield United 1. A come from behind win for the defending champions against a team joint bottom of the table. And with this season as it is, Kev, so many surprises, so much uncertainty, I think any win is a good win, isn't it?
Certainly is, yeah. They won't mind how they got it, Liverpool. Took a Firmino goal, didn't it, to win them the game. But again, you look at Sheffield United. They had a wonderful season last season. They find themselves down the bottom of the league at the start of this one, but I don't think they're playing particularly badly. They're playing the champions. They've only lost out by the odd goal. Liverpool, as they did last year, though, it's ominous for other clubs when they don't play very well and they grind out wins.
Yeah, Liverpool have made a few moves in the summer, one of them bringing Diogo Jota in from Wolves, and Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool manager, was very happy with his performance yesterday.
It's really tough. 3 days after Ajax, going out there again. Diogo was slightly fresher. I liked his game. So when you see what a threat he is, he's a threat on the ground, in the air, can keep the ball, has the speed, all that stuff. And that's after, how long players usually need to fit somehow in our team, so that he's already that close. Says a lot about his quality.
Liverpool have 13 points from 6 games so far, only behind Merseyside rivals Everton on goal difference after they lost to Southampton earlier this afternoon in our first live commentary of the day. Another upset perhaps, Kev, given how Everton had started the season.
Yeah, Everton have been on fire, haven't they? I thought it might have just have been a little honeymoon period at the start of the year. All clubs have a spell, don't they, where they do okay 3 or 4 games during the season. It would have appeared that Everton were having theirs at the start of this one, but having watched them, I don't think it's a fluke. I think they're a good side. They're organised. Obviously their manager has been around the block a few times, but a big miss today with Richarlison and James. Just goes to show any team, you take 1, maybe 2 of your main players out of it, it's going to make a big difference. And I think going back to Liverpool, obviously the sad situation for them with Van Dijk missing, he's a huge cog in that machine, and Liverpool will miss him. But Everton started well, but so have Southampton. I think they're up to 5th now. They've had a good start, and that all turned around after they got smashed at home, didn't they? 9-0 by Leicester, and since then they've really turned a corner.
Yeah, a 2-0 win for Southampton over Everton at St Mary's today. James Rodriguez did get a bit of game time for Everton, but whether he was fully fit or not, we do not know. Luca Digne was sent off in that one late on as well. A straight red card, so he might miss a few games now through suspension. Later this evening, Arsenal host Leicester in a big game at the Emirates. We'll have live commentary of that one as well, but we'll turn our attention back to our second live commentary of this Sunday afternoon and hear from the two managers, Newcastle Steve Bruce and first Nuno Espirito Santo of Wolves.
I'm expecting a very tough match, a very, very tough match, demanding. Newcastle has good managers, Steve Bruce, we know him well, has quality players, talented players. It's going to be a very tough, but I'm absolutely sure that it's very early in the competition to determine and to establish any kind of difference between teams. I think every team is improving, every team is taking time and needs time. So as the competition goes by, will be much harder, of course, because the standards will grow.
I played against them a couple of years ago, and they blew the championship away, and they had 4 or 5 of the players playing in it where they were just too good for it. They really were an outstanding team, and you have to say well done to them all of what they've done in the last 2-3 years, certainly in their recruitment of players and the way they are. They're a very, very good side. And what have they finished? They finished 7th twice now. So, under no illusion, it's going to be a very difficult game. But they didn't beat us last year. We had 2 good results against them last year. Let's hope we can do exactly the same.
I think it's too early to predict what is going to happen. And for us, it's a matter of we go game by game. Always is our approach. But it's too early to predict what is going to happen in terms of the competition. The Premier League is very hard, so every game is very tough, and we cannot predict anything.
They've brought in a couple of players too who, yes, of course, when you get the attention and you play well, then you get to that one. How can you deny Jota the chance to go to Liverpool, for example? And certainly when you see him fitting into Liverpool, you realise what a very, very good player he is, the kid. So, part and parcel of it. If the team does well, then you're going to lose some, unfortunately, along the way.
Kev, it's easy to forget last season was just Wolves' second year back in the Premier League, isn't it? They were in the top 4 fight most of the way. What do you like specifically about how he sets up this Wolves team? And it's a rather unique tactical perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I like 3 at the back. I've always liked 3 at the back. Gives you a little bit more strength down the middle of the pitch, and you can also get more bodies forward. He plays it a little bit different than the Sheffield United way, which is the 3-5-2. He goes with the 3-4-3, but it's all about everybody knowing their jobs, and everyone certainly knows their jobs in this Wolverhampton Wanderers team. And I have to say, led brilliantly by Coady. He has a wonderful voice in terms of organising his team, not just his back 3, but everybody. And in this lockdown period and in the restart with no fans, you can hear him, and he's, even when he played for England and he went in there as on debut, organising, cajoling his team, and I think he's a big part of this Wolves team. But I just like the way they set up. Everyone knows their jobs.
It'll be an interesting game today from a tactical perspective as well. 2 teams who often like to sit back behind the ball, spring when they can, but Wolves have different ways of playing, and the onus is on them as the home team and the favourites today. And at the other end of the pitch, they'll look to Raul Jimenez, of course, who's got 3 goals in 5 games to start the campaign. But Newcastle have their fox in the box as well. Callum Wilson, brought in the summer, has 4 in the first 5, so that will be fascinating. Wolves have their eyes locked only on the Premier League this season, on the prowl for a place in the top 4. Newcastle United seemingly all about survival again, but would love to escape the Wolves' den with something this afternoon. Kick-off is around 5 minutes away at Molineux, and you're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talks Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Talk Sport leads Legion. Assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion. Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me, I was
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Wolverhampton Wanderers against Newcastle United from Molineux. I'm your host, Tim Long. Alongside me, former Tottenham and Reading midfielder Kevin Watson. This is Premier League Live. And ahead of kick-off, let's take a final check on the two starting lineups. For Wolves, it's Patricio in goal, a back three of Kilman, Coady and Boly. The wing-backs, Saiss and Semedo. The midfield, Ruben, Neves and Dendoncker. And then Neto and Podence, either side of Jimenez up top. We're just getting a look at the Newcastle formation, or at least the expected formation, as they play with three centre-backs today. Darlow is fit to start in goal after his courageous display against Manchester United last week. It's Fernandez and Lascelles, the three centre-backs. Fraser and Lewis, by the looks of it, the two wing-backs. Hendrick to play in midfield, possibly alongside Murphy or Almiron. And the other one of those, along with Saint-Maximin, will play in support of Callum Wilson up top. It is wet, damp and dreary in the West Midlands today. Only rain forecast for the coming week, but the outlook is bright for the men in gold. Wolves looking to start a top-flight campaign with 4 wins in the opening 6 games for the first time since 1979. A place in the top 4 would be their reward today. 2 sets of players out on the pitch. Wolves in their gold and black sleeves, black shorts, gold socks, and predominantly gold shirts. Newcastle in the home colours for them, the black and white stripes. It's been inconsistent and unconvincing for them, but a win today would make it their best top-flight start for 9 years and would put clear daylight already between themselves and the bottom 3 as they target a place higher up the Premier League table. Both teams tend to try and keep things tight, don't they, Kev? Is that what you'd expect, at least in this first half?
Yeah, I think the onus will be on Wolves. Lovely big pitch here at Molineux, played here several times. But the onus will be on the home team, won't it, to go out and have a go at Newcastle, because I don't think you'll expect Newcastle to come and be on the front foot at the start of this game, that's for sure.
We're underway after the players on the first whistle took a knee in the United fight against racism. And it's Wolves who have the ball to start here over on the edge of the box across to our left. They're attacking across to our right as they move it across the back line to Roman Saiss on the far side. Newcastle, black and white striped jerseys, white shorts, black socks today. They're trying to attack the goal across to our left. It's Coady at the heart of the Wolves back three, of course, and across to Max Kilman, who's made a breakthrough into the side this season after his first couple of starts last season. The ball forward from Saiss, who's often played as the left-sided centre-back, but plays as a left wing-back now as well, and the ball out of play on the far side for a Newcastle throw around about halfway.
Yeah, I think you can already see, we were debating, wasn't we, what formation Newcastle were going to play. They've actually gone 3-5-2. They got Almiron, Hendrick in the middle of the pitch with Fraser, and then Saint-Maximin, there he is, in a more advanced position.
He's turned it down the sideline pretty well here. Saint-Maximin getting on the end of it up against Dendoncker, right wing for Newcastle, trying to fight his way past Leander Dendoncker, the holding midfield player who's very strong and quite often has played himself in the back three. Starts in midfield today, but that's a wonderful challenge from him. On this near side is Nelson Semedo, one of their big summer arrivals from Barcelona. Back he goes to Ruben Neves, who's the one change for Wolves today, coming into the side in place of fellow countryman João Moutinho. On the far side is Max Kilman. His first 2 Premier League starts coming last December against Sheffield United and Liverpool, and already this season he's started 3 straight games now. The 1-0 wins recently over Fulham and Leeds, and then again here today. Free kick given away here though by Wolves 2 minutes in. Newcastle will take it around about halfway.
He's had an impressive start to the season, Kilman. Come up through non-league, didn't he? Remarkable rise to play in the Premier League.
Newcastle happy to let their 3 centre-backs have a touch of the ball. Lascelles, Fernandez and Cher. Wolves happy to sit back, as we expected they might, and not press until the ball goes into midfield.
Yeah, they'll be happy, Wolves. They'll let you do this, but they're very, very good when they break up play.
It's a fine balancing act for them today, because the onus is on them to get the 3 points to carry them into the top 4. And of course being the favourites and the team at home, but they do like to play on the counter-attack as well.
What a strange situation that was. Cher trying to play the ball to Murphy. There's a bottle on the pitch. The ball's hit the bottle, rose up into the air and gone off the pitch.
We'll have to see what referee Lee Mason's going to do. He actually plants the ball back down on the pitch, gives it back to Newcastle, and they can just carry on playing as they sweep it across towards this near side to Jamal Lewis. So no harm done in terms of Newcastle conceding a throw, because the bottle was in the way, but there might be some harm done here as they give the ball away to Pedro Neto, the 20-year-old Portuguese. Down the right wing here to Nelson Semedo, another Portuguese player. He skips towards the byline, hangs it up towards the back post. A couple of players arriving for Wolves looking to attack it. Ruben Neves couldn't get his head to the ball, but it comes back out to Saiss, and Wolves will start to build again from halfway.
Good play down the right side. Brilliant cross from Semedo. Maybe just a tad loopy, but brilliant stuff from him.
Here he is again on this near side, a man who's won a couple of La Liga titles with Barcelona, in the UEFA Nations League with Portugal as well last year. Coady rifling the ball, right-footed out to Semedo. Pinpoint pass from the centre-back towards the right wing. Semedo gives it away though, and Newcastle trying to get back on it with Almiron. Steered away by Jamal Lewis from the left-back position. Long towards Callum Wilson, who's saying he was held by Coady, but the referee shook his head.
Wonderful ball from Coady, wasn't it, just now, to Semedo. He's been fantastic. He'll be really pushing for a regular England starting berth, in my opinion. He could really force himself into that team.
Here's Raul Jimenez, first chance for him to get on the ball, attacking the edge of the D, moves it across to the far side. They've got 2 or 3 in the penalty area, Wolves. It's well defended by Newcastle though. No chance of a counter-attack as Wolves get right back on it again and look to establish the first significant spell of pressure in this game. 5 minutes in, Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. It comes out to Pedro Neto on the near side. Now Semedo, a nice triangle of passes, and arriving here is Podence, left-footed shot 20 yards out, and Darlow has to palm it away out towards the corner flag on this near side.
Been a great start, hasn't it, from Wolves. Good shot there from Podence on his left foot, forcing Darlow away to his left-hand side. He had to make a good save, but terrific football from the home team.
And the task here for Newcastle looking ominous already, as Wolves move it around fluidly and smoothly again, and Dendoncker then cushions it back to his central midfield partner Ruben Neves today. He moves it across to the far side, controlled by Saiss, who's adapted well to that new position. And Coady, the man who anchors everything at the back, moves it back to Saiss again. He's been an ever-present Coady in the Premier League since Wolves won promotion in 2018. Not just every single game, Kev, but every single minute in the last 2 and a bit seasons.
Yeah, he's been outstanding for them, and in most of those games he's been outstanding as well. And that's why I'm saying he's getting better as time goes on, Coady. And for me, when he played for England a couple of weeks back again, he was outstanding. Real fan of his.
Boly looking to chip one in behind on the right flank to Semedo. Very much playing like a right winger at the moment, or even a right-sided forward, Semedo. Boly again, who's making his 100th Premier League appearance today. Kilman to the far side, and it's all Wolves here, dominating possession. Newcastle just trying to sit back in their defensive shape with the 3 centre-backs today. Change of system from Steve Bruce. Here's Semedo. He angles his ball towards the corner of the penalty area, headed away towards this near side by Newcastle and hooked out of play for a throw by Jamal Lewis.
Yeah, everything's coming down Wolves' right-hand side now, and has been for the last 6 minutes. We're just looking at that Podence shot again. Really good strike, wasn't it, off his left foot, forcing Darlow into the save. But the reason Semedo can play so high up the pitch is because Wolves are having all the ball. So he can just wander into those attacking areas and not really have to worry about any defensive duties at the moment.
Here's Kilman to Ruben Neves, edge of the centre circle across to the far side. Wolves trying their look down the left flank now. Newcastle shuffle across to that side of the pitch. It goes back to Coady at the heart of the back three, inside the centre circle. Not just a good defender, but very good with the ball at his feet as well. Kilman touches it sideways, and there is licence, of course, for the outside centre-backs to get forward and join the attack as well. Semedo receives it on this near side again, and Newcastle are chasing shadows at the moment. Ruben Neves, he's linking everything from the centre of the park. Nice pass out to Semedo, near side of the penalty area. Lewis gets the block in to turn it behind for a Wolves corner.
Yeah, although we haven't had a home shot on goal yet, it's defensive attack, isn't it? I don't think Newcastle, well, perhaps once with Saint-Maximin down the right side, I don't think they've been in Wolves' half. It's been relentless from the home team, really moving the ball quickly and accurately at the moment.
A corner for Wolves, 8 minutes in, as they attack the goal across to our right. Pedro Neto places it down. He's got a goal and an assist in the Premier League already this season, the 20-year-old. Left-footed delivery, too close to the goalkeeper though, and that's comfortable for Karl Darlow, who put in such an impressive display despite Newcastle losing 4-1 at home to Manchester United last week. He made 10 saves in the game, including a penalty from Bruno Fernandez, and stayed on late despite picking up an injury as well. Ended up picking the ball out the back of his net 3 times in the last couple of minutes. He might have to pick it out of his net here because it's rifled over the top in the end. Approaching the edge of the D, Daniel Podence, and the Newcastle defenders just sunk away from him and invited Podence to shoot, but he lashed it over the top of the crossbar.
Well, Steve Bruce would be livid. There's one loose pass into Hendrick, then Hendrick gives it away. Under no real pressure, the pass, I think it was from Fernandez, and Podence will be disappointed with that. He's got better quality than that. Unopposed, 20 yards out, he'd be looking to hit the target for sure.
9 minutes played, Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. A couple of shots from distance for Wolves, one of them saved by Karl Darlow. Otherwise Newcastle have survived in the opening 9.5 minutes as they move the ball across to this near side. It's great to have you listening wherever you are around the world today. You can get in touch with us on Twitter at TalkSport Live. We've heard from Mazeman700, who expects a goal from Raul Jimenez in a 2-1 Wolves win. And from Yusuf Bassett, who is listening in Ghana via City FM. Wolves have it back. Ruben Neves, snapping at his heels, was the Newcastle wide forward Saint-Maximin, and snapping a bit too harshly as well. In fact, it's not going to be a free kick for Wolves as Dendoncker picks himself back up. Wolves are in possession anyway. Ruben Neves turning quarterback across to this near side to pick out his wide receiver Semedo. Semedo cuts it back to the edge of the D, and it's a rare miscue from the arriving Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, again, Semedo down this right hand side, wonderful ball out to him, but I think the ball just got to Jimenez a little bit quicker than he thought it would. It was on top of him and he didn't get a chance to set. Ball to Semedo, he makes up ground, lovely little roll to the edge of the box, but it just got to him a little bit quickly and he snatched at the effort.
He has picked up this season right where he left off last, Raul Jimenez. Goals in 3 of the first 5 Premier League games against Leeds, Manchester City and Sheffield United. Last season he scored 27 goals in all competitions after Wolves paid £30 million to Benfica to make his loan move permanent. He'd scored 17 goals the previous season. He's a prime example, Kev, of a typical all-around old-school centre-forward, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's got that physique, hasn't he? But he's got a little bit more than that. He's got good quality, good feet, and great ability for a big man. Finds little holes. There you go. He's not going to stand right up the pitch now. He's just trying to get in behind that Newcastle midfield. Find little holes to link up play. He's a terrific talent.
Wolves are happy with the ball at the back at the moment as they look to pick their next route forward. It's a 1-2 played by Podence across to Saiss. Podence gets it back into Jimenez. First time ball back. Ruben Neves first time square to Dendoncker. Slick play from Wolves this. Out to Nelson Semedo, who's been the danger man in the opening 12 minutes, but he's closed down by Saint-Maximin this time. Skips away from him and he's challenged abruptly and fairly by Jamal Lewis, who concedes a throw by the corner flag.
Well, it's been a really bright 12 minutes for Wolves. Really bright. Again, so fluent and accurate in their passing. And not only that, it was just done at a tempo as well. And at the moment, Newcastle are struggling to live with them.
Wolves have so far beaten Sheffield United, Fulham and Leeds, but lost to Manchester City and West Ham. On the attack again here, Pedro Neto wriggling free near side of the penalty area. Here is Raul Jimenez. Again he miscues with his left foot from only 10 yards out this time, trying to drag it across to the far top corner. In the end, it was about 10 yards wide.
Superb play again down this right-hand side. It's congested, black and white shirts everywhere. Wonderful back heel from Jimenez. Little nutmeg from Neto. Back to Jimenez. And again, the big centre-forward will be disappointed. But the build-up play to get to that situation, magnificent. Look at that. Lovely little nutmeg. Neto on Fernandez. Cut back to Jimenez. Oh, he'd be disappointed.
But the opportunities are coming thick and fast for Wolves. You can understand his miscue from the first attempt, can't you? It came back to him quickly, arriving on the edge of the D, but that time in the penalty area, where so often he is so clinical. He's putting the pressure on the Newcastle backline again here as Wolves apply the press. Steered away by Newcastle, who haven't had a shot at goal yet. Wolves have had 4, 1 on target. Here's Semedo, who's seen as much of the ball as anybody else in Wolves' goal today, but he dribbles out into touch on this near side, right in front of his new coach, Nuno Espirito Santo, who's signed him in the summer. Wolves have had 74% of the possession, Kev.
Yeah, Newcastle, well, they just need to get some passes in, don't they? Maybe not go forward, get some passes, get a feel of the ball. But at the moment, they've struggled to do that. They've got banks of orange shirts in front of them, gold shirts in front of them.
First chance to get into the Wolves half for Jamal Lewis, the Newcastle left wing back, but he doesn't stay there very long as he gives the ball away. Pedro Neto presents it straight back to Newcastle though. Jeff Hendrick in midfield goes across to the right-sided centre-back, further on then to Ryan Fraser on the far side. Newcastle happy just to shift the ball around and keep it for a few moments. Played 14 and a half minutes. It's still 0-0 here on Premier League Live. Alan Saint-Maximin, one player who can ignite attacks for Newcastle, but he gives the ball away and instead might ignite a Wolves counter-attack, but he charges down, working hard to win it back. Here he is again. Saint-Maximin across to this near side to Almiron. He goes down the line, coming across to this side. Ryan Fraser, he gives it away. So Newcastle have had the opportunity to establish a foothold in the Wolves half, but sloppy passing has not allowed them that. Ryan Fraser pinches it back here as he comes forward down the left. Almiron in close proximity to offer some help. Newcastle can at least settle on the ball a little bit now, but it's been sloppy in the opening 15 minutes from them, Kev.
Yeah, they've just been loose with the ball. They've had the ball. I mean, a Fernandez pass into Hendrick was loose earlier. That nearly cost them a goal with Podence striking over. But they've been loose under no real pressure. Steve Bruce won't be happy with that.
Jamal Lewis has got forward here on this near side for Newcastle down the left. Ryan Fraser was trying to offer an option ahead of him. Instead he goes back, takes the safety first approach as they move it back into the centre circle. And you get the impression that Newcastle would just be happy here to keep the ball for a while, something they don't do as Raul Jimenez gets back, blocks the passing lane on halfway and intercepts, and now Wolves are on the attack.
Again, no real pressure on the ball, and they give it away. You can't do that at the highest level because you won't get it back for a good while. Having said that, Wolves have just given it away.
Jimenez intercepting again, this time concedes a throw. Strange that Newcastle, if they did win today, could make it their best Premier League start since 2011, when they ended up finishing 5th under Alan Pardew, because I thought they were absolutely awful at home to Manchester United last week. They were awful against Tottenham on the road as well, and got a very fortuitous last-minute penalty to steal a point, didn't they? Last week against Manchester United, had it not been for Carl Darlow, it could have been 8, 9 or 10. They were that bad.
Yeah.
They're trying to make a run in behind here. It's a fantastic ball into the penalty area, and it's an even better block chasing back from Max Kilman to divert the ball behind for a Newcastle corner. Callum Wilson on the move in behind and showing that Newcastle can at least offer a threat.
Well, that's what Callum Wilson's all about, isn't it? He wants to run, wants to get in on the back of people, run off people's shoulders. It's a lovely little pass, this one. Curling into his path. Kilman does fantastic to get back and block it.
It's Jacob Murphy who plays the ball forward. It was a fantastic through ball for Callum Wilson to chase. Corner comes in, far side, bounces up off the chest of Ruben Neves. Had to be careful not to handle the ball. Roman Saiss takes over and looks to dribble clear towards halfway. He's bundled to the floor as he tries to play the ball over the top, so it's going to be a free kick for Wolves on the far side, just inside their own half.
Yeah, it's a foul, isn't it? Yeah, no two ways about that. Lascelles trying to just break up a quick counter-attack.
What we've just seen from Newcastle is effectively the game plan, isn't it? They're going to sit back and get behind the ball as much as they can and hope that something materialises with Callum Wilson racing in behind.
Yeah, that's how they set up the majority of the time. Don't see today being any different. They never really dominate possession in any game.
They had the 4th worst attack in the division last season. Only the bottom 2, Watford and Norwich, along with Palace, scored fewer than Newcastle's 38 goals. But they have looked to address that with the signing of Callum Wilson in the summer. They've scored 7 goals in the first 5 games this season. He's had a direct hand in 5 of those 7, scoring 4 and setting up 1. It's a good move for them, isn't it, from Bournemouth for around £20 million.
Yeah. He'll always score your goals. Whatever level he plays at, Callum Wilson, he's a goal scorer. But he'll need the service, that's for sure.
There isn't a great deal of it in this Newcastle team, but he's still found a way. Newcastle have the ball at the back. Saint-Maximin, who can offer a bit of service. Back he goes and out towards this near side to Jamal Lewis. Long ball out from the back for Newcastle towards the right flank this time, where Jacob Murphy was looking to make his move, intercepted by Saiss. Newcastle throw has been much better from them the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're getting foothold into the game. Not had loads of possession, but they've disrupted Wolves enough to have a little spell of the ball. Obviously the Callum Wilson half chance as well.
We're approaching the 20-minute mark here on Premier League Live. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. Here's Almiron turning just off the edge of the D. Coady got a toe to the ball. Almiron got a toe as well to prod it back to his teammate. Out it comes to Saint-Maximin on this near side. Little step over and jab step from him as he looks to take on 2 Wolves players on the near edge of the penalty area. Almiron offering the support. He has room for the cross, not a bad one either, but headed clear at the back post by Saiss and out for a throw.
Yeah, that's better, positive. Good play, Saint-Maximin. Almiron getting down the left hand side, putting a good delivery in. Bit better from the away team now.
The throw is about parallel with the edge of the Wolves penalty area. It's into Ryan Fraser, who's gone across to the right, having been on the left earlier in the game as well. And he tries to turn his cross in on the half volley. It deflects off a Wolves player and out and behind for a Newcastle corner here.
Yeah, he's done well. He knows what he's doing, Fraser. He knows he can't hook that ball into the box because he's not going to be able to get enough purchase on it. But what he does is clever. Plays it off the Wolves defender and gets his team a corner.
It allows the centre-backs, Lascelles, Fernandez and Cher to come up from the back and offer some height for this corner. Out swinging from Ryan Fraser. Flipped away by Kilman, who defended it well. Out towards this near side where it's picked up by Almiron. His cross charged down by Ruben Neves, and out it goes for a Newcastle throw halfway inside the Wolves half. And having an established spell of possession here, if not real pressure.
Yeah, you can see what they're trying to do every time they get in a wide area. Newcastle, they want to put it into that box.
Federico Fernandez is going to take the throw for them as we approach the midway point of the first half. Still 0-0 at Molineux. Saint-Maximin. Pass deflected back to Lascelles. He puts his studs on the ball, looks forward. Newcastle have had 60% of the possession in the last 5 minutes. We talked about how dominant Wolves were in that regard prior to that. Not really going anywhere with it at the moment, but they won't be too displeased with that, Newcastle, just to take the sting out of the Wolves attack.
Well, they certainly needed to, the way that first 15 minutes went.
Jamal Lewis, £15 million signing from relegated Norwich in the summer, turning the ball forward towards the other summer arrival, Callum Wilson. And it's out of play for a Wolves throw. And back with their captain Conor Coady out towards Willy Boly. And now Kilman on the opposite side of the defence. The pace of the game has just slowed down a bit recently, and that's because Newcastle have made it that way. Now the onus on Wolves to try and quicken things again. Raul Jimenez has drifted to the right. Gets away from Almiron with a lovely touch of the outside of the right boot, dribbling in field, left-footed ball across to the far side. Saiss arriving but goes backwards to Ruben Neves. Again, Raul Jimenez dropping deep to try and receive the ball on the half-turn, but it doesn't come his way. Instead they work it around to the near side to Pedro Neto. Drifting in field, wearing the number 7. He flicks it back to Semedo, receives it again on this near side, but Newcastle getting bodies in there to block the passing lanes, not offer too many angles for Wolves to deal with. They've done it much better over the last few minutes, and they've earned a free kick on this near sideline as Semedo goes into the back of Lewis.
Yeah, it's a foul, but what I like about Wolves, as soon as they give that ball away, they're on it, they're hunting it back, not in 1s and 2s, but 3s and 4s. Really good to watch.
They don't tend to score many, Wolves, but they often find a way of getting a result. They've won 7 of their last 14 games in the Premier League by 1-0 or 2-0 scorelines. They've only scored 1 or none in 11 of their last 15. They like to keep it tight, don't they?
Yeah, but like you say, they find a way. They nearly always score. Don't want that to be the kiss of death, but they nearly always score. It's as simple as that. They find a way to break teams down. You don't have to, if you're defensively sound, you don't have to score 3s and 4s to win football matches.
Incredibly, they've failed to score a goal in the first half. Wolves have 33 of their last 45 league games.
That's mad, isn't it?
They've only lost 1 of their last 20 when they've gone in level at the break. 1-8 and drawn 11. They've pinched it back here as they look for a first half goal in this one. 24 minutes in, Neto back to Raul Jimenez. He squares it as they try and figure out the best way into the Newcastle penalty area. Across to the far side to Saiss. Shapes to cross left-footed, and it's good defending in the end, getting across on that far side from the makeshift right wing-back Jacob Murphy, who gets his body between the opposition player and the ball and shepherds it behind for a goal kick.
Really good defending, Jacob Murphy. Saiss wanted to get it on his left foot, and he's just out-muscled him. Seen the ball out for a goal kick.
Newcastle initially there wanted to try and pass out of their own penalty area from the goal kick. Wolves applied a high press and forced Newcastle to go long and to cede possession back to the home team. Coady across to the far side to Kilman. Saiss outside of him again. Ruben Neves closed down by Saint-Maximin, who's again, like a few of his teammates, Ryan Fraser in particular, drifted from one side to the other. They've switched on a few occasions. They're both on that right flank now. The Wolves have it again as they move it across towards this near side, the right flank for them, where there might be a bit more space until Newcastle shuffle across to close the gaps. Semedo. Jimenez on the turn again, shifts it on. You just get the feeling that things will improve every time the ball gets into the feet of Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, you certainly do. What I like about Wolves, until they get up into that final third, everything's 2-3 touch. They move it, they get it. If you're watching them, everything's 2-3 touch, if not 1 at times.
Semedo just dinking it down the line to Pedro Neto, who's challenged straight away by Almiron. And Wolves have to settle for the throw 15 yards from the corner flag on this near side. It's great to have your interaction on Twitter at TalkSport Live. We've Heard from you in Louisiana, Nigeria and Ghana. Wherever you're listening around the world, it's great to have you on board as Wolves continue to search here for the breakthrough goal. 26 minutes played, 0-0 against Newcastle at Molineux. Kilman has the ball at the back. Newcastle aren't going to press, they're happy just to sit back. Callum Wilson, the only player in the Wolves half at the moment.
Again, they don't overdo it, Wolves, in their own half and in their own third. It's all 2-3 touch. They get in the final third, then their flair players almost are told, go and do what you like. But to get there, 2-3 touch, shift it, move yourself. Really good to watch.
Boly has it on the right side of the back three, steps forward and looks to try and pick out Jimenez, intercepted, then he misses his challenge to try and win it back. He's caught out of position now, Boly, as Saint-Maximin comes forward. Almiron offering the overlap towards the near side of the penalty area. Wolves hunting in packs though to get back quickly with their defence in transition and block off any opportunity of Almiron returning the ball to his teammate.
Yeah, you feel that's still going to be the pattern of the game. Well, it has been for the opening 27 minutes. Wolves have the ball, Wolves keep it, possession, Wolves attack, and when Newcastle can break it up, they'll try and hit them on the counter-attack. That's been the pattern for much of this first half.
We talked about how good a team Wolves are, didn't we?
Yeah.
Ahead of kick-off, and that's a key part of it as well. It's not just going forward, it's the defensive work they put in.
Yeah, absolutely like that case just then.
Ryan Fraser has the ball over on the right flank, just off the far corner of the penalty area. Saint-Maximin out to Fraser again. Saint-Maximin and Fraser trying to combine on that right side. Was he tripped there? He was. According to the assistant on the far side, the referee Lee Mason didn't initially blow, but the assistant was closer and gives the free kick to Newcastle, only a couple of yards off the far corner of the Wolves penalty area.
Well, Wolves are furious, aren't they? My initial thoughts were that it was a foul. He's had one go at him there, Neves. Yep. I think Neto just leans across him. Let's have another little look. Yeah, I think it's more Neves than Neto, I think.
He talked recently, Saint-Maximin, about how he gets kicked a lot in the Premier League, and it's something he's got to get used to. He's one of those kind of players, but they don't do kicks like they used to do in your day, Kev.
No.
Fraser's cross in towards Callum Wilson, turned away by the opposite goal scorer, Raul Jimenez. Out towards Saint-Maximin, who's on the left now. His short dreadlocks, wearing the number 10. Out towards Almiron. Saint-Maximin dribbling infield, trying to get away from Ruben Neves, who wins it from him and looking forward straight away as Wolves look to spring on the counter-attack, but stepping out to head it away on the far side, admirably so, was Murphy.
Again, back to Saint-Maximin complaining he gets kicked a lot. It's like any player that holds onto the ball for long periods or longer periods than others, then you're more likely to get kicked. Players that play 2-3 touch, you know, they have the ball and they release it nearly straight away, you don't get kicked a lot. But dribbling players and players that are very direct and run at people, yeah, you'll get kicked.
Newcastle win the ball back here with a crunching tackle of their own before it finds its way to Saint-Maximin on halfway, and he moves it out to Ryan Fraser. He tries to get the cross in early. I'm not sure what he saw there. He was nowhere near Callum Wilson, and straight into the clutches of Rui Patricio in the Wolves goal. We've played just about half an hour. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0 here on Premier League Live, and we're going to have a brief stoppage here because there's an injury to Daniel Podence, who's down holding his ankle.
Yeah, let's see what happened there. Loose touch. It's a good tackle, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with that tackle from Cher. Yeah, good tackle. I think he's probably just fell, twisted as he's fell, but fantastic tackle. He's won the ball.
That was a proper old school tackle from Fabien Cher, the experienced Swiss international. Dropped to the bench last week with Lascelles back from injury, but he's back today to join Fernandez and Lascelles in a back three. And you'd have to say, so far it's worked for Newcastle, who you imagine would be happy with the point here away at Molineux. Half an hour played, no goals. They look shaky to start, but they've tightened things up since then.
Yeah, they have. They have. There's not been much in it since that initial first 15-20 minutes. Yeah, Wolves have dominated the ball, but had no real chances, have we?
The best chance was the initial one right at the start It was saved by Carl Darlow from 20 yards out, but aside from that, only that one opening really for Raul Jimenez in the penalty area where he completely miscued on his left boot. It's a game of few chances, perhaps as we expected it would be. So often, particularly with Wolverhampton Wanderers, it happens in the second half of games.
Yeah, they have a lot of the ball, don't they, Wolves? And teams that have chased it for 60, 70 minutes will start getting tired, and that's what Wolves want you to do. They want you to chase it, they want you to get tired, they want you to get loose in your shape, and then inevitably, as the game opens up, they'll create more chances.
We saw how Manchester United ground down Newcastle and scored a heap of late goals last week. Will it be a similar story this week for Wolves as Coady goes across to the far side? It's hard work, isn't it, defending for large parts of a game, the way Newcastle often set up. They have to keep their focus throughout.
Yeah.
Ruben Neves on halfway, looking forward. Out to Boly, who steps forward off the right side of the back three. It's an incisive pass to Dendoncker. He turns and passes in one movement out to Saiss. He gets the cross in early, but it's overhit, and that's where Wolves have to improve that play in the final third of the pitch.
And you often hear people saying, "Oh, they look good on the eye. They pass it a lot, they keep it a lot, but they don't go anywhere." But the reason teams have a lot of the football or want a lot of the football is to do exactly what we've just spoke about, Tim, and that's to keep hold of it, tire the other team out. And I can tell you first-hand experience, when you play against a team like that and you don't touch the ball for 60, 70 minutes, eventually you're going to get tired, and that's when you start getting loose defensively, and that's what possession-based teams try and do to you.
And that means when Carl Darlow gets a goal kick, the way he has just, he will take as long as he possibly can to take it.
Yep.
All part of game management, which is something Newcastle will try and do here to allow them that breather and that chance to refocus.
You don't often see that, do you, from a goalkeeper these days? Carl Darlow in the Premier League, especially smashing a goal kick up the pitch. It's a little bit of a throwback there. Everyone now wants to play out, don't they, from their own penalty area.
Is this perhaps part of the reason, Kev, that Newcastle fans haven't truly welcomed Steve Bruce yet with open arms because of the way he sets his teams up?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I've covered several Newcastle games now in recent times for Restart and since we've come back for this season, and it doesn't matter who they play. You know, they always set up the same, but what would have given Steve Bruce heart and belief in what he was doing was obviously the Spurs game. You know, they get a penalty right at the end, don't they?
Here's Callum Wilson in the Wolves box, but stuck to all the way by Willy Boly as the cross came in early from the far side. They're the kind of moments that they're hoping to thrive on.
But Tottenham had absolutely bashed them, but only got the one goal. And while it's only one, there's always a chance waiting to happen. And although it wasn't a penalty, they get a penalty and ride out of town with a point.
You have to say it wasn't much different under Rafa Benitez, was it?
Nope.
Newcastle fans for so long have felt they've deserved so much more. Obviously plenty of talk over the summer of the big money buyout and money being injected into the club, the dream for Newcastle supporters, and there are plenty of them, to become a top team in the Premier League and challenge for European places. And there's plenty of talk about a takeover again this week. That will have to wait. Now it's all hands to the pump defensively here as Pedro Neto comes forward down the right flank, gets away from Almiron, back onto his left foot, hangs it into the penalty area, over the top of the forehead of Raul Jimenez though, and straight through to Carl Darlow.
Again, for all their possession, only one real half chance for Wolves.
10 minutes of the first half to play. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0 here on Premier League Live. It's been anything but a great game, but it's effectively what we expected it would be. Do stay with us because it tends to get a bit more spicy in the second half here at Molineux. Lascelles out to the near side as Newcastle try and keep the ball for a bit, with Lascelles getting it back from Federico Fernandez across to the far side of the defence. Just can't figure out a way to pass it out from the back three at the moment as Saint-Maximin drops right back into his own half. He's a little fortuitous there to get back on the ball, to dribble clear of a couple of players. Now to Callum Wilson. This is where Newcastle want to operate. In the space as it goes out to Ryan Fraser, far side. His cross in towards Wilson. But again, from Newcastle's perspective as well, the final product has to be better than that. Straight into the clutches of Rui Patricio.
Yeah, they're not going to get many chances in this game. Wolves possession. Newcastle will try and hit them on the counter-attack. They've only managed to really do that on a couple of occasions. That was the second occasion. Ball into Callum Wilson. A lovely little ball out, wasn't it? First time. But once it goes out to Fraser, you can't be wasteful. You can see what he's trying to do. And also, they only had one player in the box there, Newcastle. They need to catch play up quicker.
Semedo gets it back for Wolves here, moves it infield, a chance to turn for Podence, nobody near him. Out it comes to Neto, hugging this near touchline. Ruben Neves, halfway inside the Newcastle half, back out to the right to Neto again. A triangle of passes as Semedo stabs it through to Ruben Neves, who gets Pedro Neto in behind to the byline, pulls it back. Unfortunately for Newcastle, they had bodies back there because Darlow was caught at his near post. There were players arriving at the back post, but Newcastle had 5 bodies across the edge of the 6-yard box to divert it away.
Good defending because it was cute from Wolves. Neto again, he's had a very good half at the heart of it.
Podence infield to Jimenez, who's had his pocket picked, and plenty of pace here from Almiron as he goes through the gears. Options left and right. Who's he going to pick? It's Saint-Maximin, far corner of the penalty area, and that rather sums this game up. Absolutely shocking delivery from Saint-Maximin, who had Callum Wilson to aim for, making a run towards the back post, and he lifted his cross over the top of the crossbar, high, wide, and not at all handsome.
Yeah, inexcusable really for players at this level. I thought the ball could have been played into the path of when Almiron broke. I think he had a better option than Saint-Maximin, but once it goes to the Newcastle forward, under no pressure again, you can't cross the ball behind the goal. You know, he's no one near him. Got to be better than that.
Boly on this near side. Wolves move it as the clock ticks into the 39th minute, across to the far side. 0-0 here at Molineux. A game of few openings, and when there have been openings, poor end product.
Perfectly summed up.
Let's hope it doesn't remain that way. Boly stepping out to the back, out towards this near side to Nelson Semedo. On this near side now is Neto trying to offer the width, flicks it with the outside of his left boot, gets it back from Semedo as Wolves try and quicken the pace here. Ruben Neves across to the far side, Saiss moves it across. Raul, Jimenez and Neto waiting for the cross from Podence in the centre, and he turns, twists and gets the cross in just over the head of Raul Jimenez as it's flicked away. Newcastle defending well in the air again.
Oh, Podence, how good was that skill? Very difficult to describe on the radio. Rolls his foot across the top of the ball and then checks it back. Fantastic to get himself half a yard.
Here he goes again, he's done it again, but then he's been dispossessed from behind. He's not happy with the challenge. Given away by Newcastle straight away though. Can Wolves make them pay here? Pedro Neto. The away team sloppy again. Neto back onto his left, but Newcastle get bodies back right across the edge of the 18-yard box rather, where there's 6 bodies lined up. And they force Wolves to pass it around in front of them again. Semedo chip forward towards the corner of the penalty area, touched back to Raul Jimenez, who tried a little flick of his own, and then Newcastle, who'd been perhaps frustrated seeing all of those tricks and flicks from Wolves, who tried to turn on the flare, just going robust, and Almiron clatters into his opponent on the near side and receives a yellow card for his mistimed challenge.
Well, it was industrial, wasn't it? But you have to say, from tee to green, Wolves have been fantastic. It's just that final product at the moment that's missing, but a joy to watch. Box to box, very, very good.
Yeah, their putting's been off so far. Let's hope it's been better for Jerry Keller, who joins us from Louisiana, where he's golfing in 73 degrees Fahrenheit.
Lovely.
Very jealous of him.
Me too.
It says, come on Newcastle. Well, they need to defend this free kick from Neto here. Left-footed, and it goes. And now a chance maybe for Newcastle to counter. It wasn't the best ball in, it was too flat and easily defended by Newcastle, who are looking forward on the counter-attack here, and they try and ping it across from the right to the left. It's a good ball to Saint-Maximin. Jamal Lewis on the overlap, takes one defender away. Saint-Maximin back onto his right foot, deflected, and it had to be saved by Rui Patricio. It caught a deflection about 20 yards out, diverted the ball the opposite way, but it didn't have enough power on it to trouble the Wolves goalkeeper, who was able to change direction himself and pounce upon the loose ball.
Worth a go, wasn't it? Good run from Jamal Lewis down the left-hand side to take the Wolves defender away. Saint-Maximin cuts inside, finds himself 22, 23 yards out. Thinks, why not? Going to have a shot. It's a good strike. Comes off Boly's heels. Patricio, very safe hands, moving away to his left-hand side.
It's the first shot on target, isn't it, for Newcastle after 41 minutes. And they have the ball at the back. Half-time in sight for them. And I'm sure they'll be warned at half-time by their manager Steve Bruce as to the improvements that Wolves so often make, particularly here at Molineux after the half-time interval. They'll be braced, expecting to have to deal with a bit more, but they'll also perhaps think that as Wolves come forward, they might have more space of their own to try and get on the counter-attack.
Yeah, they just need to be better when they do get a chance, and when they do break out, they need to be better with the ball. It's been, in general, pretty loose from the Magpies today.
Jimenez pressed back by Hendrick towards halfway. Able to move the ball back to Coady. Now Kilman. That save from Patricio was only Newcastle's second shot at all in the game. That's how Drabbitt's been going forward for them. They've got a goal kick here. Wolves have only had 4 shots and only the one on target, which was their very first. You have to say, after plenty of promise in the opening 15 minutes, Kev, they really haven't created much since, Wolves.
No, they haven't. We just see that bit of skill from Podence again. It was magnificent, wasn't it? But yeah, I totally agree. Like we say, box to box, been excellent. Move the ball as well as I've seen any team move it this year at a real good tempo. But they've just struggled when they've got in and around that Newcastle penalty area for that final bit of quality.
Only 90 seconds of the first 45 minutes to play. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0 at Molineux here on Premier League Live. Newcastle have it on halfway. They look to move it across from the right to the left out towards Jamal Lewis. Never really willing to force the issue of going forward. They're happy to go back, and in the end all the way back to Darlow, who hammers it as far as he can and straight to the chest of Callum Wilson, who took it down really well. Now Jamal Lewis gets forward, but closing out from the centre, coming out to the right side of the defence was Nelson Semedo to hammer the ball away and out for a throw. Actually caught a deflection off Lewis, and it's going to be a Wolves throw in. You have to imagine there'll be more excitement in our final live commentary of the day as Arsenal host Leicester, 2 teams who've started the season pretty well. It certainly will be more of an attacking game than this one, but I expect plenty more attacking in this one in the second half as well, particularly as Wolves look to go for the win that would see them move into the top 4. We're about to find out how many added minutes there'll be at the end of a pretty drab first half. As Wolves move it infield to Dendoncker. Dendoncker out towards this near side to Semedo. Just the 1 additional minute, and we're into that already. Boly getting forward halfway inside the Newcastle half. Semedo to Ruben Neves. Across it goes to Kilman, who steps forward out of the back 3 on the opposite side. Roman Saiss offering the width. Podence had a few bright moments here, but he's dribbling at pace back towards halfway and then stops and spins on a dime and tries to get away, not once but twice. Wonderful footwork from Podence again. Eventually has it nicked by Saint-Maximin, who will try and dribble clear himself, but Podence showing a few nice moments of flair over the last 10 minutes or so, but Wolves still haven't found the combination to pick the lock of the Newcastle defence.
No, they haven't. But he's been bright. Neto's been bright. Just making it difficult. Newcastle making it difficult for them to break down. So many bodies behind the ball.
One final chance perhaps for Wolves. Raul Jimenez moving it square, 30 yards from goal. Dendoncker. And there won't be a chance for Leander Dendoncker to take the shot from 28 yards out. He's absolutely fuming at referee Lee Mason, who blew the final whistle or the half-time whistle rather, just as Dendoncker was shaping to shoot. Wolves not happy because opportunities to strike a goal have been so few and far between. It has been a real damp squib in the damp West Midlands so far today. At half-time at Molineux, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport. Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated Talk Sport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, texts, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Golf! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10 when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Durham, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double-strength drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on Talk Sport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. Talk Sport. It's the Double O Duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got Pussy Galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com.
Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder.
TalkSport.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0 at Molineux. Let's have a listen to see if our producer found any highlights in that first 45. Semedo stabs it through to Ruben Neves, who gets Pedro Neto in behind to the byline, pulls it back. Unfortunately for Newcastle, they had bodies back there because Darlow was caught at his near post. There were players arriving at the back post, but Newcastle had 5 bodies across the edge of the 6-yard box to divert it away.
Could defend him because it was cute from Wolves. Neto again, he's had a very good half.
Jamal Lewis on the overlap takes one defender away. Saint-Maximin back onto his right foot, deflected, and it had to be saved by Rui Patricio. It caught a deflection about 20 yards yards out, diverted the ball the opposite way, but it didn't have enough power on it to trouble the Wolves goalkeeper, who was able to change direction himself and pounce upon the loose ball.
Saint-Maximin cuts inside, finds himself 22, 23 yards out, thinks why not, can have a shot. It's a good strike, comes off Boly's heels. Patricio, very safe hands.
Yeah, not many highlights at all from the first half at Molineux, where it is goalless, and Kevin Watson alongside me, Tim Long, for this one. Just the one shot on target for each team. 65% possession, Kev, for Wolves, but without really doing a great deal with it. Just 4 shots total for them in the game. In a way, the game is where Newcastle would want it, is it not?
It's absolutely where Steve Bruce and Newcastle would want it, yeah. I mean, I said before, that's how he sets his teams up. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They can be playing a team at the bottom of the league, or they could be playing Liverpool. He'll set it up like that. He'll let the team that they're playing against have the majority of the football, which Wolves have. They've not really created, and then he'll try and hit them on the counter-attack. Having said that, Newcastle do need to be better with the ball when they go forward.
In the last 46 league games for Wolves, it is now 34 of them without a goal in the first half, but over the last 20 they have managed to go on and win 8 of them, 11 draws, just the 1 defeat, so they like to do most of their work in the second half. So in some ways it's where they would perhaps expect the game to be as well, as they look to take the initiative into the second 45 minutes as well. Not much to talk about here, but there was plenty of talking points in the earlier game today. Southampton against Everton, and we can hear from Alex Crook, who is your commentator on that one.
Southampton 2, Everton 0. The league leaders' unbeaten start to the season comes to a shuddering halt up against a dogged and determined Saints side. The home team taking a deserved lead on 27 minutes. James Ward-Prowse with a rifling right foot shot into the bottom corner that gave Jordan Pickford no chance. Shay Adams doubled the advantage 8 minutes later after great link-up play with his strike partner Danny Ings. Saints were in control from that moment forward, limiting Everton to few clear-cut opportunities. Gylfi Sigurdsson's thundercracker against the crossbar early in the game, the closest they came to getting on the score sheet, and Luca Digne's red card for a stamp on Kyle Walker-Peters midway through the second half really summed up the Toffees' afternoon and their frustration. They stay top, only on goal difference now though, ahead of Merseyside neighbours Liverpool. Southampton up to 5th place in the table. It finished Southampton 2, 10-man Everton 0.
Yeah, Everton and Liverpool both on 13 points from 6 games at the top of the Premier League table. Everton 4 goals better off in terms of the goal difference as they taste defeat for the first time this season. Southampton, a very good team, as we know, Kev, but again, it's another shocker, this one, because Everton have made such a good start to the season, haven't they? And now perhaps it might go the other way for them, because Luca Digne suspended. They're without Richarlison, who was sent off last time out as well. James Rodriguez perhaps not fully fit today as well. So it doesn't take a lot for things to turn in the Premier League, does it?
No, it doesn't. Like we said earlier, you've only got to miss 2 or 3 of your key figures. Doesn't matter what club you are, whether you're at the very top or the very bottom, it's going to affect you. And just seeing a rerun of the Luca Digne sending off, you've got to say that it's only he will know whether he meant it or not. It's one of them where the player's running, Walker-Peters with the ball in front of him, and he's literally running directly behind him, and he's managed to tread on the back of his heel. It looks horrible, but I'm not so sure how much intent there was in it.
Well, let's hear from the Everton manager Carlo Ancelotti on that challenge.
It's not a bad challenge, I saw. It was, as I said, not intentional, because he was running behind. He had the contact with the ankle of the opponent, but he didn't have the intention to hurt the player. He didn't have the intention to use violent conduct. So it was not the right decision.
Yeah, Carlo Ancelotti says it's not the right decision. You just wonder if they will try and appeal it. If not, Luca Digne will miss games against Newcastle, Manchester United and Fulham, you have to imagine, after the straight red card. It's one of those where maybe it wasn't intentional, Kev, but it certainly was dangerous, and if you run that close to somebody, there's every chance that could happen, I suppose.
Yeah, he's running directly behind him, and it can happen. Walker-Peters, as he's running with the ball, he sort of just runs, and all he's trying trying to do is put Digne out of his stride. You often see forwards do that. They cut across defenders to almost make them pull up sharply. And he's running with the ball and he's just rolled it across the path of Digne. So Digne he's literally running directly behind him. And as I say, it doesn't look nice, does it? And whether they get away with it or not on appeal, I'm not so sure, because is it a clear and obvious error? I don't think so. It does, to the naked eye, it does look pretty nasty, doesn't it?
It does. And this game that we're covering has been pretty nasty so far. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. Later on, there's a big game though in the Premier League. Arsenal against Leicester. We'll have live commentary of that one. And in the build-up, the Leicester manager Brendan Rodgers has been full of praise for Arsenal's Mikel Arteta.
I think Mikel's done an excellent job. He's gone in, firstly, giving them a structure and a base to play from. Obviously went in early and was playing 4-3-3, but then realised that maybe the players they had and that he wanted to change the structure. But since he's done that, they've been outstanding. They have a belief in how they play. Great structure to the team. They work very hard, and then on top of that, they've got top quality players. So now they look like a really good spirit. They believe in what he's coaching and him and his staff are doing with them, and he's done great.
That game to come later this evening, Arsenal against Leicester. Live radio commentary here on Premier League Live from Tom Rennie alongside David Connolly for that one. Both teams with 9 points from the first 5 games, and if there is a winner at the Emirates, they would move into the top 4. But before that one, we've still got the second half to come of Wolves against Newcastle United at Molineux. Let's hope it's a bit more exciting than the first 45 minutes. There's 3 valuable points hanging in the balance for both teams. Wolves, who themselves are looking to move into the top 4 with a win, and Newcastle, who are looking to move further away from the bottom 3 and into mid-table with a win of their own. It's coming up in just a few minutes. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale, weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talk Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
Talk Sport Legion, assume Cortis formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, Talk Sportus can defeat it.
Talk Sportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
Wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
For all the latest news, opinions and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Newcastle United 0 from Molineux. I'm your host, Tim Long. Alongside me, former Tottenham and Reading midfielder Kevin Watson. This is Premier League Live. And the two sets of players emerging from the tunnel, making their way back onto the playing surface at Molineux. Wolves in the gold tops, gold socks, black sleeves and black shorts, going through a few final warm-ups before we get the second half underway, as they line it with Patricio in goal, a back three of Boly, Coady and Kilman, the wing-backs Saiss and Semedo, the midfield Ruben, Neves and Dendonka, and then Podence and Neto supporting Raul, Jimenez up top. That's for Newcastle, who've emerged from the first tier to make their way down to the pitch here in their black and white tops. They're going with Darlow in goal, a back three today of Fernandez and the captain Lascelles, Lewis and Murphy playing as the wing backs, Fraser, Hendrick, Almiron, Saint-Maximin across the midfield in support of Callum Wilson up top. Newcastle will be attacking the goal across to our right in this second half as Lee Mason blows his whistle. We're underway in a game that didn't produce many moments of real excitement in the first half, as we've come to expect in the Premier League, particularly this season. Let's hope it explodes into life in the second. Newcastle happy with where the game is at the moment and happy to slow the pace, as they're doing again here. Wolves trying to press and might try and do that a bit more in the second half, Kev, as they look to go for the 3 points.
Yeah, I think Wolves have to force the issue a little bit more. They need to get more shots off. You know, for all their very good play, box to box, very little in terms of goal mouth action. But Newcastle, they won't change. They'll play very much the same while it's 0-0. Just look to break up any Wolves attack and then hit them on the counter attack.
That's a nice ball through from Podence to Raul Jimenez, who turns and shoots 25 yards out from goal, but again, as he's closed down pulling the trigger, he doesn't catch it the way he usually does, and we saw him miscue a few on his left side in the first half. This one was on his right and still no closer to the goal.
No, his radar's off at the minute, isn't it? Whether it's left foot or right foot, that one just comes off the outside of his right foot, skews away to the left hand side of Cole Darlow's goal. He'll get one right in a minute, I'm sure.
No changes for either team at half-time, but plenty of activity just off the Wolves bench. Adama Traore warming up is the obvious option. And they've got the 18-year-old striker Fabio Silva on the bench as well, who was their club record signing from Porto in the summer at £36 million. And at the moment, no changes. Wolves have the ball at the back 2 minutes into the second half, still goalless at Molineux.
A club like Wolves, you don't pay £36 million for someone to sit constantly on the bench, do you? So I would assume that they're just bedding him in slowly.
At the other end of his career, they've also got Moutinho, of course, on the bench, who can offer plenty from a creative perspective. So plenty of options for Nuno Espirito Santo. Kilman to Coady. We're expecting Wolves to dominate possession again, as they did for large parts of the first half, as it goes out to Nelson Semedo, who was dangerous in the opening 15 minutes and then really faded from the game. Here's Ruben Neves, challenged by Saint-Maximin, who commits the foul. Ruben Neves takes the free kick quickly as Wolves try and quicken the pace here.
They need to shift Newcastle out of their shape they're in at the moment.
Newcastle happy for the most part to sit back in that defensive shape and just gradually shuffle from left to right depending on which avenue of attack Wolves pick. It's headed out for a throw by the left wing back Jamal Lewis, taken quickly by Wolves. Return back to Semedo on the far side. He'll try and burst towards the byline here, shoulder to shoulder with Lewis, holding him off, and then stepping out was Federico Fernandez. It comes back to the edge of the penalty area though. Ruben Neves chips it towards Podence, and it's turned away at the back post, nowhere near its intended target.
Good play from Semedo.
Now Saint-Maximin has the ball on halfway. Almiron. That rather sums Newcastle up from an attacking perspective, doesn't it? He was making the right move, running at pace to try and offer an option, but not looking where the ball was, and it was played right against his heels.
Yeah, it was a chance, wasn't it? Down that left-hand side. But again, look at them back in their 5-3-2 shape.
Raul Jimenez to Semedo. Jimenez going across to the right flank for Wolves to try and offer an extra body as they figure out the best way through all of the bodies in black and white. Saiss, Newcastle remaining well disciplined in their formation at the moment. Neto out towards Podence. He's been the danger man for Wolves since the opening 15. Before that it was Semedo, but his cross here is headed out to take the throw quickly. Dendoncker back to Kilman, back into their own half.
He's a real live wire, Podence, down this left-hand side. Always looking to get half a yard, always committing defenders, very direct, good ability.
He's not one of their youngest recruits, Daniel Podence. He's 25. He only made 3 Premier League starts last season after a £17 million move from Olympiacos in January, but he's started 5 of the first 6 this season, got a couple of assists already, and here he goes again, attacking the edge of the penalty area. Podence pulls it back left-footed, really good ball as well, and Pedro Neto struck it first time as it skipped up in front of him, 17 yards out. He opened up his boot and guided the ball just over the top of the crossbar. It's as close as either team have come after 50 minutes hit.
He puts his head in his hands. Callum Wilson crowded out just inside his own half. Ball out again. It's Podence. Very, very direct. Lovely little cutback. And Neto will feel again that he needs to do better. Maybe again a little bit too strong with the ball across Wolves. But he holds his head in his hands because he knows it's a big chance still.
He's another Portuguese player eased in to the first team setup last season. The 20-year-old, a £17 million signing from Lazio. He made 9 starts in the Premier League, but he started every game this season after Jota's move to Liverpool. Fraser's cross on this near side of the penalty area had to be turned behind by Max Kilman, so Newcastle down the other end of the field across to our right have a corner.
Yeah, good little run from Fraser, getting in behind Wolves, trying to whip it across that box, deflected, and chance for Newcastle, bring the big guns up, load one into the Wolves box.
Ryan Fraser on his first start for Newcastle. They take the corner short as he tries to play a 1-2 with Saint-Maximin, who gets too much on the return pass and just plays it behind for a goal kick. And we've been saying it time and time again, moments like that summing up Newcastle's performance when they do go forward here.
Well, Newcastle's centre-backs that have just run 40 yards to put themselves in the box for a corner will not be pleased. Short one with Fraser and Saint-Maximin. He tries to roll Fraser back in, just far too heavy with a return pass, and goes off for a goal kick. But put the ball in the box, make Wolves defend.
Especially playing the 3 centre-backs today as well. All of them went forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're 7 minutes into the second half at Molineux on Premier League Live. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. Still just the 1 attempt on target for both teams. Podence, nice back heel this time to Saiss, who was on the overlap down the line on this near side. Fraser got back to close him down though. Back in field to Ruben Neves. Touch first time by Dendoncker to Raul Jimenez across to the far side. This is much better from Wolves. Left-footed shot from distance over the top of the crossbar. They couldn't resist the shot from 30 yards, and there was the option to keep the attack flowing, wasn't there, with the overlap on that side. They had an extra man over there. Instead it was the long ranger that was a good 5 yards from the top corner by Pedro Neto.
Yeah, again another Wolves attack which just follows the pattern of the game really, doesn't it? Great little stuff around the edge of the box. 1 touch, 2 touch. Then Donker popped into Jimenez, out to Neto, like you say, Tim. Had an overlap on the right hand side, chooses to come inside on his left foot, and high, wide and handsome.
I suppose in the opening 8 minutes of the second half there is a bit of encouragement for Nuno Espirito Santo as he watches on from the edge of his technical area. They've had 3 shots in that time, Wolves.
Yeah, he's probably told them you need to shoot more. You know, if you get half a yard, you need to pull the trigger. You can't walk the ball into the goal. And you've had Neto. Jimenez has had a strike, hasn't he? Neto too, actually. The side foot should have done a lot better with than that recent one.
Only 4 shots in the first 45 minutes, 3 in the 8 minutes here since half time. They're looking to create something else here. Dendoncker on the far side takes it down on the joint of his shoulder and his chest, gives it to Semedo. Here's Ruben Neves, tracked by Saint-Maximin, working hard defensively, but Ruben Neves still able to bully the ball down the flank towards the corner flag, where he's shoulder to shoulder with Jamal Lewis, who wins the throw for Newcastle.
Struggling to get out at the moment, Newcastle. Very much following what happened in the first half, or most certainly the first 15-16 minutes of the first half, where they struggled. It was all Wolves, and it is again at the moment.
A stray pass from Ruben Neves on the volley allows Newcastle to intercept. It's a poor clearance though, straight to Roman Saiss just inside the Newcastle half. Now Pedro Neto on the left flank. Back to Saiss again, he tries to slot it through to a runner ahead of him, deflected back off a Newcastle head to Ruben Neves. Almost intercepted by Saint-Maximin, which might have turned into a Newcastle counter-attack, but he couldn't quite reel the ball in. Saiss across to this near side again to Neto, right on the near touchline, getting chalk on his boots. Wolves trying to stretch the pitch a bit, to stretch that Newcastle defensive formation, but to no avail really so far. 10 minutes into the second half, still goalless.
Yeah, they're back in their shape again, all Newcastle players in their own half. You can see, looking down, 5-3-2, real deep defensive block they've got on here.
Can Wolves figure out the answer to this conundrum that Newcastle are posing them? Pedro Neto into Podence, who turns sharply. Lovely low centre of gravity as he spins away. Neto back towards Podence in the penalty area. This is lovely from Wolves. Podence dancing past the defence, trying to strike it towards goal, just waiting for an angle to materialise to have his shot, and when it did, he struck it hard and true, and they're appealing it was blocked by a Newcastle hand.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a handball for that. He's hit it with real venom, hasn't he? Again, cutting in from the left, dances across onto his right hand, onto his right foot. Yeah, do you know what? In the restart, you might have got that, but it's hit him on the back of the arm, almost the elbow, the Newcastle player. And you're not going to get a penalty now for that. But you feel that if anything, Wolves are going to get anything anytime soon, it will come from that man Podence. It's been excellent this afternoon.
Now, a penalty appeal will have been checked, won't it, by the assistant?
Yeah, it would have, yeah.
On the video, and it's a very quick check and not given, and rightly so. And that was such a contentious point, wasn't it, as you referred to after the restart? Penalties were being given for that.
Well, that would have been a penalty, Tim, wouldn't it?
And they've changed the interpretation of the law, rightly so, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. That would have been a penalty.
It was an absolute farce before.
Yeah.
There was all this nonsense about making the silhouette of the body bigger, and it's back now with the more simplistic approach of, was the arm in an unnatural position? And the answer there was clearly not, as Federico Fernandez threw himself in front of the shot. No chance of getting his arm out the way.
No, he slid across to block the shot. And in the act of sliding, you've got to put your arms somewhere. Your arms go down by your side. That's a natural reaction. So he had no control of that ball hitting his arm there.
Pedro Neto has the ball on halfway, looking to glide forward through the centre circle. Raul Jimenez has dropped deep to receive it, back onto his right foot. This is much better from Wolves again, across to the far side to Semedo, far corner of the penalty area, gets his cross in, deflected off Jamal Lewis, who's defended well today, and out of play for a throw by the corner flag.
I know they've not really had a real good chance at the moment, Wolves. But you do think that they're beginning to open up Newcastle just that little bit more than they were.
And if it continues in this pattern. It'll be a long final 35 minutes or so for Newcastle. Wolves have already had as many shots in this second half as they had in the whole of the first. And here's Podence again, far side of the penalty area, closed down by Lewis. They've got 3 waiting in the centre. Semedo trying to get to the byline, but he takes a heavy touch when there wasn't much room to operate and nudges the ball behind for a Newcastle goal kick, and they can breathe a sigh of relief and regroup and refocus again.
They need to get hold of the ball again, don't they, Newcastle? They're trying to play out this time.
It's about that time where you'd expect a change, possibly from Wolves, but I think given the recent encouragement, Nuno Espirito Santo might just leave it a few more minutes.
Yeah, he probably will. You're probably looking at 65 minutes before he makes a change.
Here's Dendoncker turning in the centre circle, playing it forward left-footed. Podence is just in the inside right channel now. It's a diagonal towards the chest of Jimenez. He was trying to get in behind. Good defending, though, to step out from the back from the Newcastle captain, Lascelles, and intercept. Jacob Murphy has been playing almost as a right wing-back today for Newcastle. His first start of this Premier League campaign. He moves it back, and Newcastle try and cling on to it with their back 3 inside their own penalty area with Lascelles. Wolves happy to retreat and back away. Ryan Fraser infield to Jeff Hendrick. Newcastle added a couple of free signings in the summer. Jeff Hendrick from Burnley and Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth. Both of them getting the start here today, as well as spending considerable money, of course, on Callum Wilson, also from Bournemouth. Here's Saint-Maximin across to Lewis, who they spent money on from Norwich. So 4 new signings in the 11. Here's Sher. Now on the near side is Murphy, who returned to the club after a loan spell, and he skipped towards the corner of the penalty area here, trapped by 2 Wolves players. He'll squeeze the cross in. It might come for Callum Wilson. He's looking to turn. Almiron left-footed, deflected in front of goal. Kilman towards his own net, and somehow reeled in by Rui Patricio as the ball looked to be flying towards the top corner of the empty Wolves net.
Well, good chance. Brilliant from Murphy down this right-hand side. Somehow squeezes that ball back. Wilson into Almiron. Boly throws himself at the ball. A couple of more ricochets, and then it bounces up into the grateful arms of Patricio. But that was at the end of probably Newcastle's best passage of play in the game, to be honest.
Here they come again. Callum Wilson running the channel. They win a throw by the corner flag. Max Kilman's touch in the end was a pretty good one, wasn't it? Just to help it up into the 6-yard box for Patricio to grab from the camera angle. And the angle that we were seated looking at it, it looked like it might be flying towards the top corner.
Yeah, it did. It was good play from Murphy. I thought he'd missed his chance to get the cross in, but somehow managed to squeeze it in.
It's a Wolves throw now by their own corner flag, as Newcastle failed to make the most of their throw-in. We've played just over the hour here on Premier League Live. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0. Newcastle only just mustering their first attempt of the second half after only 2 in the first half. The Wolves have it at the back again with Nelson Semedo.
Looks like Adama Traore getting ready to come on. Just wondering who it'll be, whose place he takes.
It seems like the inevitable change, doesn't it, for Wolves?
Yeah.
He can offer something very different.
I'd be very surprised if it was Podence, which it was in the last game. I think he's been excellent. Could be Neto, this time.
Here's Coady in the centre circle to Raul Jimenez, who's almost in a holding midfield position as he tries to link things, the number 9. Dendoncker touches it to Semedo far side. Now Jimenez has to try and get into the penalty area. There's 4 of them waiting there for Wolves now, but the cross doesn't come from Semedo. He's still trying to figure out the best way past Almiron, who's defended well. It ricochets to Podence, though, in the penalty area. Newcastle have to be careful not to clip him. And in the end, they're invited to clear and do all the way back to Coady.
They have to be careful there with Podence. Real low centre of gravity. You don't want to touch him in the box because he'll be over.
Coady again. may well be that the next time the ball goes out of play, we'll see Adama Traore. Here's Dendoncker, far side, dribbling towards the sideline, turning to face the corner of the penalty area. Podence again, the real danger man at the moment, gets it back onto his right foot. Faced with a wall of black and white jerseys, though, and this time he gives it away and holds up his right hand apologetically as he presents it straight to Murphy, who's trying to dribble across the edge of his own D and does so admirably to slalom past a couple of those gold Wolves jerseys and give it across to Jamal Lewis, who's continuing this dribbling clear out of pressure from Newcastle up towards halfway, but he's not adventurous with it and goes back to the central midfielder Jeff Hendrick. Now there's a bit of space for Ryan Fraser, who's very good with the ball at his feet as well, but he turns back and plays in that conservative manner that Newcastle so often do. Almiron in central midfield across to the far side, and Wolves with just about everybody back behind the ball. Now a chance to drive forward over on the far side for Lewis, forward from left wing back up against Semedo. Semedo does well one-on-one, wins the challenge, gives it to Boly. Lewis is out of position, but they come down the other side. Wolves across towards this near side, the left flank for them, and then the switch towards that far side where there might be a bit of space for Raul Jimenez in behind the vacant Jamal Lewis, but the pass was overhit and out into touch for a throw, and we are going to see Adama Traore imminently. Just receiving his final instructions now from Nuno Espirito Santo. It's going to be a double change as well for Wolves. Marchal, the Brazilian left back, to come on.
Be interesting to see who's going to make way for these two guys. Are they going to do it now? No. Still playing on. Could be a change of shape. Might be one of the centre halves to go off. Not sure you need three centre halves.
5 minutes to play. They've got to do something, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. The amount Wolves are dominating the ball. Do you need three back there? Probably not. Do you need two holding midfielders? Probably not either. So it'll be interesting to see what changes he makes.
Here's Max Kilman on halfway. Dendoncker out to Saiss. Wolves might just be spurred by the sight of a couple of potential substitutes on the edge of the pitch. Pedro Neto, one of those whose position might be at risk, with a couple of step overs, and then he takes a whack to the shin and wins Wolves a free kick. It's just off the near edge of the penalty area, an opportunity to get the ball into the Newcastle box.
Good skill, double step over, little Krafth turn. Too clever for Jacob Murphy, that's for sure.
Just about 66 minutes on the clock. It's Pedro Neto who stands hands on hips here, looking to deliver this cross left footed, and it goes towards the penalty spot. Boly was towering high, but it was over his head still and steered away by Newcastle. Ruben Neves trying to drive it in through a crowd of players, might just have been going wide anyway, as Carl Darlow pounces down to his right to claim.
Comfortable save. I think Neves shot there because he thought he was going to be going in for a tackle, so he's flung everything at it with his right foot. Slight deflection, but easy for Darlow.
We've still not seen the changes yet for Wolves. They weren't quite ready when the ball last went out of play, nor for when it got stopped for the free kick. And they have the ball back in their right back position with Semedo. Now Boly. No sign of any high press from Newcastle again. They just allow Wolves to move it out towards this left flank. Roman Saiss. Ruben Neves. Saiss again. Looking to play it into the channel for Pedro Neto, who barges into the back of his opponent Murphy and concedes the free kick. I think we're going to see those changes now, pretty much dead on the midway point of the second half. And we'll see who it is who's going to make way. There's a double change for Wolves. Adama Traore coming on. Marchal, the Brazilian left back, as well. Roman Saiss, it looks like it'll be a straight swap in the left wing back position.
Yeah, Podence has gone off again.
It's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is to me, yeah. I mean, he's been really, really bright. Perhaps it's just a little change of formation, a little bit more direct running power as opposed to the trickery of Podence. But he's been arguably Wolves' best player.
Here's Adama Traore, flicks it outside of the right boot towards Dendoncker, but he couldn't flick it further on towards Jimenez. Saint-Maximin. Newcastle will be absolutely delighted really with this position. They've kind of weathered the storm, haven't they, after Wolves improved at the start of this half?
Yeah, I mean, very much the same as the first half.
Wolves starting both halves well, Newcastle surviving and now looking to mount a rare attack of their own. Callum Wilson racing in behind, near side of the penalty area, pulls it back to Saint-Maximin, just off the edge of the box. Wolves plenty of bodies back now. Hendrick strikes it deflected. It'll go for a corner if Patricio can't catch up with it, but he can, racing off his goal line towards the corner of his penalty area on this near side.
It just shows you Newcastle's ambition there though, doesn't it? Because ball goes into Callum Wilson. Wolves end up with 8 gold shirts back behind the ball. Newcastle, 3 bodies in the box.
Ball back with the Newcastle keeper Carl Darlow. He's been nowhere near as busy as he was against Manchester United last week. Ryan Fraser getting his body between Marchal, the Wolves substituting the ball, and earning the free kick from him. Down in the Newcastle right back position. 7 of the previous 10 Premier League meetings between these two have ended in a draw. 6 of those have finished 1-1, including each of the last 3 and both of the last 2 here at Molineux. Late action as well. Willy Boly scored a 95th minute equaliser here a couple of seasons ago. There's still 20 minutes of this one to play plus added time. Wolves 0, Newcastle 0 here on Premier League Live. Wolves are hoping for a first top-flight home win over Newcastle since 1977, when they won 1-0 here.
Well, it only takes one chance, doesn't it?
Yeah, they'd certainly take that scoreline again today. Newcastle have the ball at the back at the moment. Ryan Fraser towards Saint-Maximin. Kilman, proactive defending to win it back. Neto. Ruben Neves, a bit of space to drive forward into here for the number 8. Across to the far side where there's a bit of space as well for the arriving Semedo to combine with Traore. Traore double teamed by Almiron and Lewis, dribbling towards the corner flag, and those two do a good job on him in the end, don't allow him any room to operate and win the throw as well.
Yeah, Semedo can take a little bit more of a back seat now. He was very much Wolves' outlet, wasn't he, down that right hand side, but now Traore's on.
Given away by Newcastle off that throw though. Pedro Neto on his left foot having a go, deflected off the back of a Newcastle player before it reached even the penalty area. And a little bit of an extra spring in the step of Wolves now though, as they look to shift the ball around. Boly's come forward halfway inside the Newcastle half. Newcastle have just about everybody back in their own third of the pitch. Here's Adama Traore up against that double team again. There's the step overs. Can he get the better of that battle this time? He does, to the effect of winning a corner over on the far side for Wolves.
But well done Almiron, because they'll know Traore very, very direct. All he wants to do is get to that byline and deliver. Doesn't really possess a lot of tricks, but he's done well. That's twice they've doubled up now, not allowed him to get across in.
So Wolves have the corner, 71.5 minutes in from the far side. They've packed the 6-yard box as it comes in towards the near post, punched away rather unconvincingly by Darlow, but fortunately for him it fell to one of his teammates to flick it further clear towards halfway.
He didn't get much on it, but he got enough.
Ruben Neves out towards the near side. Are we going to have some late drama at Molineux in a game that's really offered very little, certainly in the scope of this Premier League season where we've seen so much action, so much drama, so many goals? The excitement has just dried up a little bit this weekend, hasn't it, Kev? Perhaps the European games are a reason for that, as the congestion starts to build up, but certainly not the case for Wolves, who aren't in Europe this year, and we're hoping to make the most of that by having the extra preparation time.
Yeah, they're just lacking in that final third. Well, they have been today. They don't normally, and up until this point they've rarely worked Cole Darlow.
Wolves are out of the League Cup already as well, so only the Premier League to focus on until the FA Cup in January. Raul Jimenez takes it down here on the edge of the box, across to Adama Traore. This time he's one-on-one. Here goes Traore, trying to get away from Lewis towards the byline, gets his cross in. Jimenez was waiting for it, but it was turned away before it reached the number 9.
Yeah, there you go. The quicker they work it, the quicker Almiron won't have time to get back in there and double up on Traore. That time he was 1v1, wasn't he, with Jamal Lewis? No tricks. There you go. Direct, outside, gets across, does well. No Wolves player in there.
Just 1 goal and 1 assist 2 seasons ago for Traore. He added that end product last season, had a direct hand in 13 goals in the Premier League in the end, scored 4 and set up 9. Real transformation. The raw talent was always there. He's still only 24. Linked with a number of big clubs after those performances last season as well, Kev.
Yeah, and he's added final product to his game. All too often he'd get there, very rarely get across him. When he did, he'd hit the first man, he'd go behind the goal, he'd go too deep. But now he's adding that final product to his game.
Great to have your interaction on Twitter at TalkSport Live. We've heard from Don Lacuna, who says he's enjoying the commentary from Nigeria and would like the game to end in a draw. There's a high chance of that at the moment, although it's Wolves looking to force the issue a little bit more. But as Adama Traore tries to get down that right flank again, this time it's deflected back off him and behind for a Newcastle goal kick. And on the edge of his technical area, Nuno Espirito Santo with a bit of chin scratching to try and figure out what he can do next.
Well, we're going into a little spell of the game now where there's really not an awful lot happening. There needs to be a little bit of magic produced from somewhere to get us a winning goal, if indeed there is to be a winning goal.
Shea guides it back to Darlow on the edge of his 6-yard box, left-footed away by the Newcastle keeper. Boly intercepts on halfway with his chest in front of Callum Wilson, who's been feeding off scraps for these 75 minutes as it remains 0-0 at Molineux here on Premier League Live. Later on, Arsenal against Leicester, which you have to imagine will be a little bit more exciting than this one.
Can't be enjoyable for Callum Wilson, you know. As you say, feeding off scraps, starved of the football. I'd like to know how many touches that the boys had, but I doubt it's in double figures.
Kilman stepping forward out to the back for Wolves, onto Neto. Neto turns into trouble though, still able to emerge with the ball as he's stronger than Ryan Fraser. Across to Adama Traore, up against the same double team again as Almiron helps out Lewis. Adama Traore around one, gets the cross in towards Dendoncker, might still come for Martial at the back post, pulled back, Neto strikes it, deflected away, and Newcastle able in the end to clear their lines and to scramble the ball clear, but a bit of panic and desperation for the first time in a long time in the Newcastle defence.
Yep, first time in a long time, as you say. Traore this time gets to the byline, and that's where I'm talking about. His final product stands a lovely little ball up to the back post. It's a good cut back as well from Martial, but a shot blocked again.
Here he is again, the Brazilian left back getting the cross in, turned away by Hendrick, only as far as Neto on the corner of the penalty area. He squares it, Raul Jimenez back onto his left, trying to flick it with the outside of his right, with 3 Newcastle players in front of him. Then it ricocheted to him and he swung and swivelled on the edge of the D and got his shot away more convincingly this time with his right boot towards the bottom corner, but Darlow was equal to it again.
Yeah, the first one, a little bit of a toe punt, comes back to him, shot on the turn. Again, a save that you'd expect Darlow to make.
Before that, there was a very weak claim for a penalty again, no chance of a handball, as Newcastle got Lascelles in front of a shot. They've committed a couple of players forward here, Newcastle, and lost the ball, so there's a bit of space for Wolves to move it into, but they're doing so at almost a walking pace here as it goes to Adama Traore. Step overs up against Hendrick. Now there's space for Martial in the D. He cut in field from the left wing back position, deflected back to Neto, and back to Kilman, who strides forward out from the back again towards the final third. Neto on this near side, looking to attack the near edge of the penalty area, gets the cross in. It's a really good one as well on his left foot, whipped it right through the 6-yard box past 3 Newcastle defenders who all left it, but there was no attacker from Wolves to attack the ball.
Brilliant from Neves. You can see he gets him at pace. There's only 2 Wolves players in there, and Not one of them made a definite move. It was Dendoncker, I think, and Jimenez. None of them really busting a gut to get across that near post.
Steve Bruce has left it 78 minutes to make a change, but he's going to make 2 now. Joey Linton on for Ryan Fraser, who'd made his first start for the club in the Premier League today. Joey Linton, who'd dropped to the bench, and Alan Saint-Maximin is the other player who's going to make way for them. Plenty of running from both of those two departing players, but without any real end product. And the other player to come on is Sean Longstaff, who's returned from having tonsillitis recently.
Well, Joe Linton, has gone over on that left-hand side, and we've seen the big man do that job before, and he's done it okay. Longstaff obviously goes straight into the middle of the pitch.
Certainly a big frame of a body to try and hold up the ball for Newcastle. Joey Linton as well, just to alleviate some pressure. He tries to bully the ball down the flank on that far side, eventually loses it, and now there's more space on this near side for Wolves. Marcello, who's seen plenty of it since coming on. Neto outside of him, back onto his right foot, cutting infield, trying to get away from Murphy. Twisting back towards this near side, but stabbing it with the outside of his left boot too far in front of Marcello. Now to play for a Newcastle throw about 5 yards from their own corner flag.
Another chance gone there. Simple 10-yard pass going astray. He's getting frustrated, Espirito Santo, rightfully so.
Here's Neto. A chance maybe to get the cross in, although there's a whistle from Lee Mason. Didn't see what happened there. Steve Bruce and Nuno Espirito Santo both out on the edge of their technical areas, pacing up and down. It is a free kick to Wolves, just off this near sideline. Neto was clipped, and he will take it left-footed. They've got 4 in the penalty area, 2 more lurking on the edge. 10 minutes of the 90 to play. Pedro Neto gets the ball in towards the back post. Too much on it. Might be a chance for Raul Jimenez on the edge of the D. Oh, he struck it superbly. It just had to be him. 4 goals in 6 games at the start of the new campaign for the man who's scored more winning goals than any other Premier League player since the start of last season. And the Wolves of Molineux finally sink their Sunday teeth into the Magpies. 10 minutes to play. Wolves 1, Newcastle 0.
Well, there's Wolves again, scoring late in a game. How often do they do that? It's a wonderful ball in from this left-hand side, and you'd expect Jimenez to put himself in the middle of the box, but he's clever. As everyone runs in, he just distances himself from the ball, backtracks to the edge of the box. The header finds him. Wonderful first touch. Is a great strike. Darlow, for me, goes with his wrong hand and can only parry it into the corner of the net. He's had enough goes, Jimenez, and finally one finds the back of the Newcastle net.
Well, they still haven't been brilliant, but they have been better since half-time. Nuno Espirito Santo's team, that was only their 3rd shot on target in the game, but it flies past Darlow into the back of the net, and Raul Jimenez has another, not just another goal, but potentially another winning goal, with only 9 minutes of the 90 to play. And as it stands, Wolves are going to climb into the top 4 of the Premier League. Newcastle now have to change their plan, don't they?
Yeah, they do. We were saying earlier in that first half, wasn't we, about him being an old-fashioned centre forward, but he does have a little bit more than that, and he's extremely clever. The way he just backtracked when everyone threw themselves into the box for that Neto free kick. He moves the other way just to find himself some space.
Newcastle have to take more risks now as Hendrick tries to play a through ball that's comfortably intercepted on the edge of the Wolves penalty area. And there'll be more space for Wolves to operate if they so choose. They might just look to play it safe and keep the ball, given away this time to Almiron, who's got a couple of options to his right. He goes for the more ambitious ball to release Longstaff on this near side, and he'll win a throw down by the corner flag. In fact, he won't, because the sliding challenge deflects back off his shins and out into touch. It was good work getting back from Ruben Neves.
Certainly was.
João Moutinho will come on in a few moments into the Wolves midfield, just to steady the ship for them and to try and see them through over the finish line. A player who can look to dictate the tempo, really put his foot on the ball and make sure Newcastle don't see much of it. And it's the other Portuguese midfielder, Ruben Neves, who makes way.
Similar players. like for like. Neves done extremely well. Rarely wastes a pass, does he? But Newcastle are going to have to come out now, whatever's left. 8.5 minutes plus any time that's going to be added on. They've got to come out, they've got to have a go. Probably suit Wolves that.
Ball is back with Carl Darlow in the Newcastle penalty area. They're running out of time. 7 of the 90 to play. Wolves lead by 1-0 here on Premier League Live. Arsenal against Leicester still to come. We've heard from DJ Keefe on Twitter at TalkSport Live. Says he was just biding time until the Arsenal game. Well, so were we until that Raul Jimenez strike, when it seemed like this would inevitably end up as a 0-0. But now Wolves are under a bit of pressure as captain Coady turns the ball out for a throw. Newcastle, all of a sudden, for the first time in the game, are the team that have to try and force the issue here. Here's Murphy trying to get his cross in, stuck to like glue by Neto, and then Neto gets clipped by Murphy, wins a free kick for Wolves in the left back position.
Well, when you set up like Steve Bruce has, almost not to lose a game first and foremost and take what you can get, it's very difficult to change the mindset of the players when you do go behind. And all too often you see them trying to cling on and hang on, 0-0, try and score on the break. It's gone against them at the moment.
I'm just seeing a replay of the goal that separates the two teams. Raul Jimenez striking the bouncing ball so sweetly. We've heard from Eniola in Lagos, Nigeria, saying doing physics and listening to you guys is perfection. Well, that was perfect physics from Raul Jimenez, wasn't it? As he struck the ball
Everton from St Mary's Stadium
into the back of the net for potentially another Wolves winner. Longstaff switching the play for Newcastle across to the far side. Left wing for them. Lewis getting forward. Goes back to halfway. Just about 5 minutes of the 90 to play at Molineux as Hendrick moves it across through the centre circle out to Cher. Cher stepping forward out to the back for Newcastle. There's space here for Almiron on the right. He passes backwards though, all the way to Hendrick, halfway inside the Wolves half. Now the question from Wolves to Newcastle is, can you do the other side of the game and do what you've been asking us to do all game long? Almiron across to the far side to Jamal Lewis. He's going to get the cross in from a deep position. It's overhit though in front of the two players that were in there. Swung back in from this near side, flicked by Boly, and they'll recover it on the far side of the penalty area with Joey Linton forced towards the byline. Lewis in close proximity to him, guarded by Semedo. Back to Longstaff, back into the centre of the half again. They've tried their luck down the left and then the right, the left again as they swing it back towards that far side of the penalty area. Joey Linton wins the header but can only nod it straight to Rui Patricio.
Yeah, ball to the back post. Harmless enough. Wolves won't mind if Newcastle have the ball now. It may be too little too late from the away team. They've shown very, very little ambition in this game.
Ball is back with number 11, Rui Patricio again, who keeps the number 1 vacant in honour of Carl Ikimi, who was diagnosed with leukemia, and he's only had to face the one shot today, hasn't he, on target on his goal, Rui Patricio. Newcastle struggling to create another. Longstaff. Wolves, as we've talked about, are a team who can do both parts of the game so well. They can play on the front foot if they need to. They can also play in that defensive shape if they need to. Hendrick with a long ball forward towards Wilson. Was he nudged by Coady? He was, just off the edge of the penalty area. And this is a glorious and rare opportunity for Newcastle United with only 3 of the 90 minutes to play.
Simplicity there, wasn't it? Good 40-yard ball into the front. It is a foul. Coady just leaning into Callum Wilson, and all of a sudden from nowhere, good opportunity to test Rui Patricio in that Wolves goal. And now Andy Carroll looks like he's going to make an entrance.
He'll get just a few minutes in place of the captain Jamal Lascelles, but what a big target to aim for. The number 7 on for Newcastle. The free kick is perhaps better suited to a left-footed shooter than it is to a crosser, but it could be either. They've got plenty of height in there, Newcastle, but it's delicately placed down by Jacob Murphy. Scored 9 goals in the Championship on loan at Sheffield Wednesday last season. His first Premier League start today since returning. Almiron is there as well. Murphy the most likely. He strikes it towards the near post and he scores! Past the Wolves wall and catching out Rui Patricio with only Newcastle's second shot on target in the game in the 89th minute. And in this season of strange results, an unlikely equaliser for the Magpies at Molineux.
Well, a very unlikely equaliser, but you've got to ask questions of that wall. You know, we can see on the replay there is a little gap to get round it. It only needs a little bit of shape from Murphy. He gets that shape on it. Patricio can't get all the way across, and his left hand can only palm it into the corner of the net. Jacob Murphy will think that's a good goal. But I tell you what, Espirito Santo and Wolves, you've got to line that wall up one man outside the post. They're almost one man inside the post.
It was played with pinpoint precision, wasn't it? But the gap shouldn't have been there in the first place.
No, you're absolutely right, Tim. When a goalkeeper lines a wall up, you'll generally have the outside man, one man outside of that near post. But as we saw there,
it's that very popular scoreline in this fixture again. It didn't seem likely, but it's Wolves 1, Newcastle 1.
Yeah,
right at the end of the 90 minutes.
As we saw there, when that wall's lined up, you can see about a foot inside that near post. Jacob Murphy, natural angle of the shape he's put on that effort on goal, curling it into the goal, and it's gone in. You didn't see it coming, but as I say, Steve Bruce's teams, they set up like that. They did the same at Spurs. Hardly had a kick, hardly in the game. Get a penalty right at the end of that one, free kick right at the end of this one, and look like they're going to escape with a point as it stands.
He'll be absolutely delighted. Nuno Espirito Santo will be fuming unless his team can score a winner in added time. Adama Traore out to the far side, intercepted. We're into the first of 3 added minutes at the end of the 90. Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Arsenal Leicester still to come this evening. Coady getting across to the far side, wins it back for Wolves. Boly loses out, but the referee Lee Mason was waiting to see if there was an advantage after Coady was tripped. There wasn't, so he gives them the free kick and they take it quickly and they move it into the centre circle. Understandably, Wolves in a hurry now, out towards Pedro Neto. Kilman. Late drama in this fixture again. Remember, we mentioned Willy Boly had scored a 95th minute equaliser here a couple of seasons ago. And is there going to be even more late drama as it's flicked forward by Raul Jimenez, who thought he'd given Wolves the win with that sweetly struck volley on the edge of the penalty area. Only Wolves' third shot on target, but Newcastle equalise with only their second shot on target. And at the moment it's a share of the spoils for these two.
Well, you didn't see it coming, did you, that equaliser? But as we've seen before, you only need one chance to score a goal, and basically that's what Newcastle have had. I can't think of many others. And would you even call that a chance, a free kick? Probably not. It's a half chance, but Wolves would be disappointed the way that ended up in their goal.
It was better suited for a left footer, wasn't it, the free kick, to try and curl it across from this near side of the penalty area, but Murphy was confident that he could pick the spot around the other side of the wall, and that caught Wolves by surprise when perhaps it shouldn't have done. It was Murphy who was placing the ball very delicately. Yes, it was a mistake from the home team in terms of setting up the wall, but we shouldn't really take anything away from Jacob Murphy, who struck it really well to score just his second ever Premier League goal.
Well, he knew what he wanted to do, but if the wall was lined up outside that post, he wouldn't even have thought about it, and Almiron would have probably taken it.
Almiron's defended really well for Newcastle today, got his body in front of the physical Brazilian Martial and been able to pinch it off him, and then got tugged back and wins Newcastle a free kick right to the end of the 3 added minutes.
He's done really well, Almiron. I'm sure he would like to be involved in the game in better areas of the pitch, higher up the pitch, but defensively he's been fantastic today. And you have to say that Newcastle defend really creditably in their shape. It's just not easy on the eye, is it?
The 3 added minutes are up. Darlow is in no hurry. No final whistle yet, up towards the head of Andy Carroll, and there is the whistle from Lee Mason. It's happened late between these two again, and for the 8th time in 11 in the top tier between Wolves and Newcastle, it's a 1-1 draw, and 4 in a row as well, including the last 3 here at Molineux. It didn't seem likely. Raul Jimenez volleyed Wolves ahead with 10 minutes to play. Newcastle had created hardly anything through the game, but somehow found an equaliser, picking their moment to pounce from a free kick conceded by captain Coady of Wolves, slotted home by Jacob Murphy around the opposite side of the wall to perhaps the one that Rui Patricio expected, catching Wolves by surprise. And this is, in the end, a surprise result at Molineux as it finishes Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport. Impress Lost Tribes people of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated Talk Sport app. Listen live, listen again, and listen good, Buster. Download the app at talksport.com now. The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Hello, I'm Andy Goldstein, and of course you can hear me on the Sports Bar with Jason Cundy. We'll be taking all your calls, texts, tweets and emails on all the big talking points from the weekend's football. And remember, we bring you the very first look at the next day's back page headlines every single night.
The Sports Bar, weeknights from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Catch up and listen up without having to cough up. It's free. Go to talksport.com and download the app today. Or don't. Your choice entirely.
Hello, Jim White here. Now, if you're wondering about all the background hullabaloo, I'm helping out as lifeguard at the brand new Talk Sport swimming pool. Goff! No running there, boy! But never mind that. Join me tomorrow morning from 10, when I'll be up to my neck in the warm, chlorinated waters of the day's biggest sports stories. Come plunge with me, Jim White, straight in at the deep end of the action.
Weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
Driving home with Darren Goff and Doug, a sporting legend and an angry sports journalist who'll pick a fight with anyone.
Just really winds me up. Absolutely unbelievable.
To say I'm angry is an understatement.
Adrian Durham, what an absolute clown.
Dynamic, double strength, drive time radio.
Shall I stay?
I don't like listening to him. I'll turn off.
Do you want me to stay?
Adrian Durham and Darren Goff.
He's an idiot.
Right, hands up, who wants me to stay?
Drive time radio.
I don't have to.
Weekdays from 4, only on Talk Sport.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs on Sport. Talk Sport. It's the double-O duo on the radio show that's like a collapsible bridge over a shark-infested pool of big names, sporting headlines, and topical debate. Join Paul Alligator Hopscotch Hawksbee and Andy Oddjob Jacobs, flying the plane of sporting entertainment out of the horse's bum of conventional radio.
Have we got pussy galore on the show, Andy?
No, Paul, but we've got Todd Macklin's American Sports Roundup. Will that do?
Not really, Andy, no.
Hawksbee and Jacobs, shaken but not stirred. Weekday afternoons from 1 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport.
Confuse bookmakers, impress football agents and entertain the kids with the improved TalkSport app. Totally fun, totally free, totally football. Download it now from talksport.com. Hey, kids, take my mobile and go over there and play or something. Don't press the button that says Tinder. TalkSport.
Welcome back to TalkSport's coverage of Wolverhampton Wanderers against Newcastle United from Molineux. They made us work, they made us wait, but we got a bit of drama in the end. Pedro Neto gets the ball in towards the back post. Too much on it. Might be a chance for Raul Jimenez on the edge of the D. Oh, he struck it superbly. It just had to be him. 4 goals in 6 games at the start of the new campaign for the man who's scored more winning goals than any other Premier League player since the start of last season. And the Wolves of Molineux finally sink their Sunday teeth into the Magpies.
You'd expect Jimenez to put himself in the middle of the box, but he's clever. As everyone runs in, he just distances himself from the ball, backtracks to the edge of the box. The header finds him. Wonderful first touch. Is a great strike. Darlow, for me, goes with his wrong hand and can only parry it into the corner of the net.
Wolves 1, Newcastle 0. Murphy the most likely. He strikes it towards the near post and he scores. Past the Wolves wall and catching out Rui Patricio with only Newcastle's second shot on target in the game in the 89th minute. And in this season of strange results, an unlikely equaliser for the Magpies at Molineux. It finished in the end, Wolves 1, Newcastle 1. Kevin Watson alongside me, Tim Long, for this one at Molineux. Do stay with us as we wrap this one up and build up as well towards Arsenal against Leicester later on this evening. We'll discuss, I think, Kev, the final 10 minutes, won't we, of this game, because we pretty much covered the first 80 throughout the course of the commentary where not a great deal happened, but we told you keep waiting. It tends to happen late at Molineux, particularly with Wolves, particularly in this fixture as well. And in the end, the go-ahead goal we expected, the equaliser we didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, Wolves, they were pushing, wasn't they? And it was a fantastic goal from their main man, Jimenez. Lovely cross, free kick, Neto, out-swinging free kick from the left-hand side. And you'd expect the big man to go in in the box, trying to score. But what he does, everyone goes in and he just backtracks to the edge of the box, almost away from the ball. The header finds him. It's a wonderful strike. Darlow probably should have done better. It's a wonderful strike to put Wolves ahead, and then you're thinking, what Newcastle got? I thought they were beaten at that point, and it's a poor goal for Wolves to concede, but Newcastle get out of town with a point.
Raul Jimenez had scored 10 match-winning goals in 43 games since the start of the last Premier League season, more than any other player. Perhaps thought he'd got another one, but Wolves didn't protect the lead. And the equalising goal from that free kick from Jacob Murphy, just his second ever Premier League goal. And we were saying it all game long, weren't we, that Newcastle set up to try and get results like that. And they've done it today with just 2 shots on target, 37% possession. Steve Bruce will be absolutely delighted, even though they didn't offer much through the game going forward at all.
They offered very little, and as I say, I don't think Jacob Murphy would have even tried that if he hadn't seen that wall lined up incorrectly for me. He shouldn't be able to get round that side of the wall. Patricio can't get across in time and it goes in, but a draw based on what we've just seen, probably a fair result. I don't think Wolves done enough to win the game, but I also don't think Newcastle done enough to get anything out of the game. So what does it do? End up in a draw.
It moves Newcastle to 8 points from the 6 games. Wolves in the end missed the opportunity to move at least temporarily into the top 4. They would have got into the top 4 until Arsenal played Leicester later this evening. They're now on 10 points from 6 games. How will the manager Nuno Espirito Santo be feeling in the Wolves dressing room right now? Like they've really shot themselves in the foot, I imagine.
Yeah, once you get into the lead, especially that late on in the game where you've been pressing for most of it, you need to hang on. But when you don't get that second goal, you're always going to be under pressure to not concede. And as I say, they probably didn't see Newcastle getting anything out of the game. But as I say, Newcastle have done it before. You only need one chance, and they've managed to nick a point from a half chance.
And if Wolves are going to go to that next level and make the most of not being in European football this season, having a week to prepare for each game, unlike many of their competitors for those top spots, this is the kind of game you need to win, isn't it? At home against Newcastle United.
Yeah, they need to score more goals. Like you come up with a stat at the start, I think, Tim, they don't score enough goals. If you only score in one a game, you're going to put yourself under increasing pressure to not concede. Otherwise, you're going to lose games and you're going to draw games. And they've only managed to get one today, despite dominating the ball. Had very, very few chances.
And they've scored just 1 or none now in 12 of their last 16 in the Premier League. Next up for them, it's Palace at Molineux, Leicester away, Southampton at Molineux, Arsenal away, Liverpool away. So it's a tough next 5 games. They do have at least 5 days to prepare in between all of them. Do you still think they're the kind of team that should be targeting the top 4, or is that too ambitious for them, even with that extra rest?
Yeah, I think they need to score more goals if they're going to be in that top 4. They're a good side. Let's get it right. Like I said before, box to box, tee to green, very easy on the eye, lovely 1 and 2 touch stuff. But you do feel they're going to need to score more goals. However, I think they'll be up there. They most certainly could be a top 6 team.
Another outsider who's up towards the top 4 places at the moment are Southampton, who beat Everton 2-0 earlier on today in our first live commentary of the afternoon, handing the Toffees their first defeat of the season. And then the Saints manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl, speaking after the game, has said that was their best performance of the season so far.
I think it was definitely overall one of our best performances so far against a strong side. And you are right, also after being 1 man more, I think it's good that you have a good game management, good balance. It's not important to score again or to create chances. It's more important to keep the ball and let the opponent run. And I think we did it in a fantastic way. And this was a step forward. I must say that in the end, in the last games, we also show in possession a good improvement, massive steps forward, and this is necessary to become a better side.
We talked, Kev, a little bit about them before the kick-off in our game today, how impressive Southampton have been in turning it around under Ralph Hasenhüttl. Has really shown himself to be a very good coach, got them playing in a very good way. They're enjoyable to watch, and they're getting results as well now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they had that freak result, like we alluded to, when they lost 9-0 at home. And at that point it seemed like the wheels had well and truly come off. But what a fantastic reaction, not only from Hasenhüttl but from his players as well. They've really turned it round again. Decent team, well organised. They've got some good players there, not least in Danny Ings, who's having a wonderful time of it at the moment. So again, it's another team, the way things are going, you wouldn't put it past the Saints to be up there, top 6, top 7, top 8 come the end of the season, the way they're playing.
You mentioned Danny Ings there. He set up both of the goals today. Shea Adams on the score sheet for Southampton, and Hasenhüttl says they're proven to be a very good partnership.
I'm happy when also the other one who's normally working for Ings is also scoring now, and Ings gives the assist. I think this shows how committed the 2 guys are in front. Also the other guys support them. Stewie Reddy was today much better than in the last games. This makes me very happy because I must bring him back to the highest level. And he was much better today, by far his best performance in the final weeks. Overall, I must say a good performance from the team.
That was the first game today. Our second commentary here has seen Wolves draw 1-1 with Newcastle, but there's a big game to come still this evening. We've got live commentary of Arsenal against Leicester at the Emirates, and the team news is in with your match commentator Tom Rennie.
Arsenal unbeaten at home this season. In fact, unbeaten in 2020 at Emirates Stadium, though they have lost their last 2 away games in the league. For Leicester, on their travels, fantastic. Beaten in their last 2 at home against West Ham and Aston Villa, so maybe lucky for both, this one is at Emirates Stadium. Or maybe not for Leicester. Arsenal have an imperious record here against the Foxes, unbeaten in their last 27 matches against them at Emirates Stadium and Highbury combined. The Foxes' most recent victory at Arsenal was in 1973. To the team news, starting with Arsenal, Bernal Leno continues in goal. Back 4 left to right of Kieran Tierney, who won so much at Celtic under Brendan Rodgers, Leicester manager. Gabriel, David Luiz and Hector Bellerin. Yes, I did say David Luiz in a back 4 tonight. Midfield, Thomas Partey gets a start with Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos. Up front, Alexandre Lacazette comes in to start in the number 9 role. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's not scored in the league since the opening day against Fulham, out on the left. He captains the side. Saka on the right-hand side, completing the front 3. For Leicester, injury issues has been such a detriment to their good Premier League start. The good news is that Jamie Vardy is back. The bad news is that he is only on the bench for this one. Kasper Schmeichel is in goal. Looks like a back 3 tonight of the veteran Christian Fuchs, Jonny Evans and the young man Wesley Fofana, who played at the heart of defence alongside Gabriel last season out in Ligue 1. Yuri Tielemans Tielemans and Mendy in the centre midfield, Castagna on the right, Justin on the left, Maddison and Dennis Pratt supporting Harvey Barnes, who gets the nod up front, Kelechi Iheanacho on the bench alongside Vardy.
That one to come here on Premier League Live in around 45 minutes. And Kev, both teams on 9 points from 5 games played so far. Form has dropped a little bit after promising starts for both. A win, though, for either today would see them up into the top 4. And that has to be the target, I think, for both teams this season, doesn't it?
I think so. I think they've both got decent squads now. They've got good managers, good players. It'll be a tough game to call tonight, I think. I'm not sure who could take that one. Arsenal playing well, Leicester, they've got Vardy back on the bench here, Nacho. Interesting game. I like the look of Leicester. I like the way Brendan sets his teams up, but I also like the way Mikel Arteta is beginning to turn it around at Arsenal as well. I think it'll be a really good game, that one.
A back 3, it seems, for Leicester today. They don't have a good record, as Tom was saying, at the Emirates recently, and they've had a few injury problems as well, as we've touched on. Is that a case of just trying to keep it tight against an Arsenal team that are packed full of firepower with that front 3 of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Saka?
Yeah, it looks decent, doesn't it? Aubameyang, Saka, Lacazette. I think that he likes a back 3, Brendan. I think when he first went into Leicester, he played with a back 3-5-2. You get 3 in the middle of the pitch, 2 up the top of the park. He'll be looking to keep it tight. Yes, they're going to a team that like playing at the Emirates, don't they, Arsenal? And then hopefully, if they don't score early, they'll ease themselves into the game. And you've obviously got that man Vardy who can score at any given point, given some time on the pitch.
And they've been good going forward for a long time, Arsenal, haven't they? But there's a bit more balance now under Mikel Arteta. They've signed Thomas Partey, who seems to be a really good signing in the holding midfield role, to add a bit of energy for them, a bit of work rate in that department, something they've lacked for many years, really. And they've signed Gabriel to play at centre-back as well. Tom sort of made a joke of it there, of him playing in a back 4 alongside David Luiz, who's been fragile in that position. But they are looking better at that side of the pitch, Arsenal, under the new manager.
Yeah, they've been crying out for someone, haven't they, in the middle of the park, get games by the scruff of the neck, i.e. like a Patrick Vieira type character. They've now got Thomas Partey. Obviously you got the centre half Gabriel. It still concerns me, David Luiz playing in a back 4 or a back 3. He's for me.
So just playing then?
Well, just playing, yeah. I mean, if you're going to play David Luiz, I've always thought that you're better off having him as one of your deep line central midfielders, because if he makes a rick there, they've still got to go through your back 4 or a back 3, whatever it is. When he makes mistakes as the last man or the last line of defence, it looks really horrible. And you know, all too often he does make those mistakes.
We've talked about all of the games involving the Big 6 and perhaps some of the dark horses to try and make their way in towards that top 4 this season. How do you see that race shaping up? It's so unpredictable, isn't it, this season?
Well, it is unpredictable because at the moment there's, Aston Villa, they raced off, didn't they? So did Everton. They've both been beaten. Aston Villa comprehensively so by Leeds, and Everton comprehensively so by Southampton. So you can't really call what's going to happen at the moment. You really can't. There's turn-ups all over the place. The one constant at the moment, after being absolutely bashed at Aston Villa, Liverpool, not playing great but grinding out a win yesterday. Are they going to be the team to beat? I thought Manchester City would go close this year, or go a lot closer than they did last season, but they only got held at West Ham, who are having a very good start as well. Just really interesting, isn't it? It only makes for good viewing. You know, when 2 teams race off, or one team races off like they did last year, it's almost like who's going to finish 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but at the moment it looks like it will be a lot closer this season.
It's still very early on, of course. Manchester City in 13th, Manchester United in 15th as it stands, with games in hand at the top. Everton and Liverpool tied on 13 points, just below them Villa on 12, but they have a game in hand. Leeds have got 10 on the board already, as have Southampton, Crystal Palace and now Wolves as well. And another team hoping to breach the top 4 and qualify for the Champions League is Tottenham. They're in action tomorrow night on the road at Burnley, and Jose Mourinho has been talking ahead of that one, saying he's happy with the Spurs squad he's got at his disposal this season.
It's time for evolution. It's time to affect the team, not just the way we play, but also the way we think. And sometimes the way we think takes more time than other things. I'm very happy with the squad. Of course, next summer we will need to give a couple of touches, but this is what you always do to improve your squad. You look, for example, to Liverpool, how many years Jurgen has been there, how many transfer windows he went to the market and improved the team. And I think with us, I don't want to try to compare us with Liverpool, of course not. But what we need now is time to work and to improve our dynamics at every level.
And that one, Burnley against Tottenham, comes your way tomorrow, as does Brighton against West Brom. But Kev, we'll just speak about Spurs ahead of that game for a couple of minutes here before we pass over to Tom for the Arsenal against Leicester game. He says he's happy with his squad this season, Jose Mourinho. They have made some big moves in the summer, haven't they? One of the more active teams in the transfer market. What do you make of the squad in terms of it shaping up to be like a Jose Mourinho squad?
Well, I'm happy with it as well, being an ex-Tottenham player. He's got an embarrassment of riches now, hasn't he? It looks really strong on paper. They threw the game away last week against West Ham, although West Ham's second half, I have to say, were outstanding and probably deserve something. They put Tottenham on the back foot. But the players they've got now, they've brought in Gareth Bale, Matt Doherty. Aurier looks a different kettle of fish all of a sudden because he's got competition for places. There's competition in midfield. They look the real deal. But last week, soft underbelly again. And it's what they call it, Spursy. And it was very Spursy. And you'd think under Jose Mourinho, that will change. That cannot continue. He will not have that. And if they get it right and they get it defensively right, then obviously, they've got, they're really a potent force going forward.
And just very quickly, will other teams be fearing them after seeing that kind of activity in the summer and fearing perhaps that the real Jose Mourinho is back, establishing that set of players?
I don't think teams will fear them. I think teams will go into games knowing that they're a very good side. I mean, Harry Kane is playing as well as I've ever seen him. When he came back from that long absence through that with the hamstring injury, he was a shadow of the player he was before, but all of a sudden he's got fit and he looks sharp. His link-up play is fantastic.
Yeah, Harry Kane looking great. Sorry, I have to cut you off there, Kev, because we've got to go now. It's been a pleasure having your company for this one at Molineux today. Big game still to come this evening from the Emirates. Do join Tom Rennie and David Connolly for that one in just a couple of minutes' time. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Talk Sport. Impress lost tribespeople of the Andes by demonstrating the new updated Talk Sport